Uploading. Uploading.
God
Whoa.
damn. You know, I get so amped listening to that intro.
Sound alerts at BJD Pod. It seems that your sound alerts browser source is offline. Yeah, because it's complicated. We'll get to sound alert. Sound alerts will be coming soon. I just have to learn OBS in the meantime. Wait, no. In the meantime, we're on Restream, but I have to learn OBS, and there's a lot involved. Just go with it.
All right,
Roll the
folks. Welcome once again to your weekly edition of the BJD Podcast, where you're going to hear some brothers, a couple jacks, and possibly some daddies. This is episode 3, where myself and my fantastic co-host slash producer, Mr. Kevin Wilson, are going to be talking about what we are watching and possibly not watching. So, Kev, how you doing?
I am doing oh, Jesus. My brain is like firing in like half a cylinder and all the cylinders at the same time. It's a weird thing.
So you're having a malfunction at the junction.
Well, it's ADHD. It just happens.
I know.
So I'm doing great, especially, living in South Carolina. I don't get to go and have many of my northern fixes, but I was able to go and find some Sam Adams Boston Lager, not to give any free advertisement. But yeah, no, tastes just the same as it did back home, and helps out because I do kind of miss home today.
Well, we miss having you here, Kevin, and but we do know that with you being down south definitely got a little bit more flavor, a little bit more attitude. And here's to you, sir, as I raise my cup of Sam Adams Porch Rocker to toast you, my friend. So like I said when we started off the show, we're going to talk about what we are and possibly not watching. So let's jump on the not watching, because for me, this was huge. I was not a fan. So when ESPN Plus came out, I was very happy because they were going to have, they were going to carry UFC. So I was thrilled. And then I found out that they don't carry the UFC pay-per-views. You would essentially have to pay the actual UFC pay-per-view price of $75 per event on top of the $6.99. So on July 20th, which was 7 days ago, literally after we signed off from episode 2, this came across my Twitter feed, reported by MMA Junkie, and you can follow them on Twitter at MMA Junkie. They reported that ESPN Plus would be raising their monthly price from $6.99 a month to $9.99 a month. And again, that does not include the actual price of the UFC pay-per-view event, which averages $74.99 per event. So just a quick financial breakdown. That means if you wanted to be a UFC fan, you would be paying over $1,000 a year and that is just to watch. Not any merchandise that you want to buy, not any rash guards that you want to buy to support, whoever your favorite fighter or camp is. And to that, I tell ESPN Plus and the UFC, fuck you. I will not be paying $1,000 a year just to watch. And that's all I have to say about that. Kev.
Yes?
You have anything that you're not watching? I know that you're a big baseball fan.
Yeah, I'm not watching the Atlanta Braves right now.
But Kev,
because, they're not playing. They had a day game today with the Phillies. Lost.
But Kev, you're a Red Sox fan first and a Braves fan second, like myself, and we covered why in episode 2, so please by all means head on back to our twitch.tv/BJD Pod, where you can find us, or you can search us up on youtube.com BJD Pod, and we will pop up. We do not have a custom URL right now because we do not have enough subscribers, so please, while you're there, hit that like and follow button. And also share us with your friends. It is free 99 to do so, and we will benefit greatly from it. And if we benefit greatly from it, you will benefit greatly from it as well. Because then we'll be able to bring you better content, more content. We may even have guests at that point. But to get to that point, we need you to do your part. Follow and share us, the BJD Pod, over on youtube.com. So, like I was saying, after that shameless plug, because we're all about the shameless plugs here, brother.
Yeah.
We will talk about the fact that we are both Atlanta Brave fans, second, but why aren't you watching the Atlanta Braves, Kev?
So, to start with, I have T-Mobile as a phone carrier. So, T-Mobile is in partnership with the MLB. And they go and give an MLB TV subscription for free for the regular season to all T-Mobile subscribers. I never had this. I had Sprint, but once they had that merger with T-Mobile and Sprint, now I'm able to go and get this. This is the third year I've capitalized on it. The second year I've actually watched, because when I capitalized on it the first year, it was the COVID year, and I forgot by the time baseball actually started. But it was okay because there was nightly baseball on my TV, and I didn't care in any way, shape, or form what it was. So the only problem with MLB TV is that you're subject to blackout restrictions. So if you are in a market that has a regional sports network that covers where you live, you can't watch that team. So this really affects people in Iowa. They can't watch the Cubs, the White Sox, the Brewers, the Royals, the Twins. Like, they're screwed in Iowa. In my case, living in...
So who do they watch in Iowa?
I don't know. They do,
because you're not in Iowa, so why would you?
Cubs. Well, they get the Cubs. I know that, but if you have MLB TV, you can't watch the Cubs. Excuse me. So, when I was living up in Massachusetts, I couldn't watch Red Sox games because of Nesson. Well, YouTube TV had Nesson at one point. That's the TV carrier that I currently have for cable TV access. They had it. And then they got rid of it because Nesson wanted more. Now, Nesson has their own, that it's only $300 for an entire year. Yeah, no thanks. No thanks, Nesson and Jackoff Hemorrhoid. I don't want your
you know what's funny? They say $300 a year, right?
Yep.
However, because I'm an Xfinity customer and I have Nesson, they say that I can get it for free. But whenever I try to log in, it doesn't let me do anything. Nothing loads. Not even a little bit.
Well, we've got to make sure we get you there. But after that, I mean, we might not let you actually like watch anything without paying a bit more of a premium, because my wife needs a new Prada bag, and I need a new sports team in Las Vegas.
And for those of you that aren't aware, that is Kevin's impression of principal owner of the Red Sox. We treat him like Voldemort, he who shall not be named. If you don't know who he is, just type in Red Sox owner and you will figure it out.
Yeah.
We don't name
Or
him.
when I go and say jack off hemorrhoid, I'm saying the J and H, but I'm not going to actually say his name because I think the guy is a total jack off. Or jackass. Jackass hemorrhoid might actually work a lot better.
That might fit a little bit better. It's a work in progress. That's okay.
Yeah.
His name is a work in progress.
Jack off hemorrhoid, though, that just sounds like grosser.
I mean, it definitely sounds like something that would be on a BDSM site or a fetish site.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
There was a little glint in your eye when I mentioned fetish site, Kev. It kind of scared me a little bit.
Not that one.
Just saying.
Not that one.
Anyway, the Red Sox, our lovely Red Sox.
Yeah.
Kev, what is the single game record for most runs scored?
Hang on. Don't jump the gun here. I'm going to get to that little mini thing that I don't really want to talk about.
Well, we'll just brush on it because this is what we do. We do talk about sports. We do talk about lifestyle, living, current events.
I don't know if I want to talk about this one because I don't recognize that game. That was a JV high school team that played the Toronto Blue Jays, not the Boston Red Sox. So I don't. It's the same thing. I don't recognize Super Bowl 42 as a New York Giants win. I think the New England Patriots were so good that they decided to go and have a high school football team go and play in their place in the Super Bowl because the Patriots were just that good that year. We went 18-0. We decided not to go for 19 because, well, we have 18. No one's going to beat us. Not even the 72 Dolphins can beat that.
Right. You got to give Mercury Morris something to cling on to in his the rest of his existence. I completely understand, and I totally subscribe to the we're on to Cincinnati method of overlooking this game. However,
no.
It was
because the Atlanta Braves I can't watch. I can't watch the Atlanta Braves. See what I'm doing? I can't watch the Atlanta Braves because of all these blackout restrictions. All right, I can't, and it sucks because YouTube TV down in South Carolina doesn't carry Bally Sports South, which was the old Fox Sports, the regional Fox Sports networks. They changed the name last year to Bally Sports. YouTube TV doesn't have Bally Sports, so I can't watch the Braves because, of course, being in South Carolina in the upstate, I'm a 3-hour drive from Atlanta. So I'm in the Atlanta Braves coverage area, so I can't watch Braves baseball. The only way that I can go and watch is by if they're playing on national TV, or if I listen to the radio call, which I do listen to the radio call as often as I can. Because radio call, I'm one of the weird ones with radio call for any sport I can listen to very, very easily because I can picture the field in my head. Mm-hmm. Or I can picture the ice or picture the basketball court. But baseball especially, you know where everything is.
Right.
And just the ambiance inside Truist Park is amazing. I got the Red Sox game on currently because that's a game I can watch on MLB TV now that I'm no longer in the Boston Red. But they have Franchi Strikeout Cordero up there. So, yeah, this is going to be a great at-bat.
Franchi Big Whiffa.
Yep. Hey, look, he's not Joey Gallo. He's close, but he's not Joey Gallo.
I mean, other than Joey Gallo, is anybody Joey Gallo?
Well, no. He's the strikeout king.
I see that they are in their second day in a row, attempting to break their losing streak by wearing their Boston Strong uniforms.
They won the other night.
I mean, they won Monday.
Monday.
They won Monday.
Yeah, they won Monday, but they lost last night. Oh, wow. What a bad throw.
Wow.
Wow. Franchi on an error all the way to third. Oh,
The ball
that was
placement
almost
on that was fantastic. Right
Yep.
down the third base line. The left fielder misplayed it. So, kudos to
And
that.
it wasn't a strikeout by Franchi Cordero.
No, it was not. So now, since we're on the topic of the Red Sox, and with them being 5 games back, meaning that they are in last place.
Yeah, nope, don't want to talk. Nope, I'm
It
good.
seems that JD Martinez is on the trading block.
Oh, we're going to talk about this, though. Okay.
Along with Vasquez. Now, and I believe somebody else, and I forgot who it was that I had heard. Now, here's my question. We know that Xander isn't going to sign. We know, and he's not going to sign because they don't want to pay him. For multiple reasons, one of them being his age, but the other reason being because they want to be they want to be the Boston Tampa Bay Rays.
He's 30. What does his age have anything to do? He's 30.
Yeah,
and when he starts to lose his mobility, slap him over to first.
But here's the thing. He is 30. He is shortstop. So if you offer him a 15-year contract for shortstop, and we already have a first baseman coming up.
He's not looking for a 15-year contract, though. He's probably looking for 5 or 6.
You would hope that he's looking for 5 or 6.
He's not looking for... Somebody looking for a 15 is a Juan Soto type or a Mookie Betts. Somebody who's in their early to mid-20s who knows they're going to be around for a while. Now, a 15-year contract is stupid because in the back half of it, they could suffer a catastrophic injury that changes how they play the game.
Or they could just, Bobby Bonilla it.
Well, yeah, they could also just suck, and then, every July 1st we get Bobby Bonilla Day.
So, like I was saying, we know that they're, for a multitude of reasons, they're not going to sign Xander Bogaerts. We also have a pretty good idea that, and we covered this again last week, that they are not going to sign Rafael Devers based on the comparable offer they gave, which was Matt Olson from the Atlanta Braves, 8 years, $168 million. So, with JD Martinez being on the trade block, Christian Vasquez being on the trading block, do you put Xander and Devers on the trading block?
Well, so I was listening to the Name Redacted podcast. It's called the Jared Carrabba's podcast about the Boston Red Sox. And a lot of them were in favor. If you're going to sell off Bogaerts, JD Martinez, you still got Devers under contract for next season. But if you're not going to extend him, then try to get something for him. Build that farm system up even better, or try to build it up even better. And then, oh, what a shock. Jackie Brownlee Jr. with an out and not on base. Oh, my. Then blow the whole thing up. Like, go all in on blowing it all up. So trading away JD, trading away Devers, trading away Bogaerts, trading away Eovaldi, maybe even trying to flip something for Pivetta, unless you want to go and keep him under team control. Just trading all of these different players to go and get as much of the farm system replenished as possible, because Marcelo Meyer's not going to be up here next season.
No. What about Hernandez? He was the star. He was the darling of last year's postseason.
Well,
he's been injured. I understand that, but do you think that he would? Do you think that he would hold some value?
He right now doesn't hold a ton of value because Kiki's out with the hip injury, unfortunately. And right now, there's no telling when he'll be able to come back and play, because it just seems each time is just another setback after another setback after another setback. And with hip injuries, that can happen.
That absolutely happens. You can reference that in any sport: baseball, basketball, football. Hip injuries are just as bad as back and knee injuries, whereas they take the brunt of your weight. It is a weight-bearing joint. So having setbacks with hip rehab is completely understandable. It does happen. It's one of the few injuries where you're bound to get less flack for it because of the location and type of injury.
Mm-hmm. Another thing, when it comes to the Red Sox and the farm system, one thing after the last few seasons, the Mookie Betts trade was very lopsided because Alex Verdugo is a great player. Don't get me wrong, but he's not
on
a
Mookie's.
Superstar. He's
not on Mookie's level.
And that trade was always hanging on Jeter Downs and Connor Wong. And Connor Wong, we can probably, if they're going to trade away Nate Eovaldi, Connor Wong was probably a goner as well.
Yes.
And Jeter Downs is not ready yet.
Nope.
Brayan Bello. Bayo. Brayan Bayo is not ready yet.
No, and he showed that he is not ready.
He showed he is not ready yet. He needs at least another year seasoning down in Worcester. Yep. Down in is some of the people I work with at the big W store like to go and say the Worcester. Oh, dude, really? The Worcester?
Bro, I was watching something, and I put it in our Discord that we have, and I forgot what it was, that I was watching, and I posted it in that channel, and I was like, "Are you serious, guys? Worcester? Worcester?" It like made my skin crawl and made me angry all at the same time. Just because somebody said Worcester instead of Worcester. So like you were saying, there was Bayo has shown that he is not ready. He imploded, shit down his leg that night that he started. Coming in from Twitch, we have Worcester is pronounced Worcester, and it is. It's Worcester. Woostah. Kind of like the Green Monster.
Yep. They also get a kick out of. So do you actually have the accent? What, you mean like I gotta pack my cat?
So you know what's funny, being on the south coast of Mass, where you were North Shore, our accents are a little different. We're less bro guys, and we're less kid guys, and we're more guy. Okay, but at the same time, there are absolute times where when I'm getting frustrated, if I'm tired, if I'm overexcited at work, everything is just like, the accent comes out. And one of the people that I work with is from the North Shore, grew up on the North Shore, like full-blooded Italian. And it happened in front of her like last week, or the last week of school. And she looked at me and she was like, "Wow, I haven't heard an accent like that since I was home." She's like, "Where did that come from?" And I'm like, "It just happens. It happens."
Yep.
I spent 10 years working up in the Metro West North Shore area, so
the North Shore is definitely, their accent is much more influenced by Boston than the South Shore. The South Shore is probably a little bit more influenced by the Rhode Island.
Yes. Yeah, that's pretty accurate.
All right.
So,
Ray, Take it away
Yes.
for a few. I'll be back, folks.
All right. While you go and take care of some of those technical difficulties, I'm going to give you another shameless plug. This is episode 3 of the BJD Podcast, the Brother Jack Daddy podcast, where you can watch us live whenever we go live, which seems to be every week. You can watch us on twitch.tv/BJD Pod. You can also head on over to YouTube and you can search us, BJD Pod, in the YouTube search bar. The reason why we don't have a custom URL is we don't have enough followers. We're brand new. We're starting out. We need those follower numbers so that we can get our own custom URL. And then I can tell you, head on over to youtube.com/the BJD Pod, where you can find our video on demands and possible YouTube exclusives. But we can't do any of that without your help. It costs you free $99 to head on down there, hit the follow button, hit the like button on all of our VODs, video on demand, and make sure you hit that share button. Let your friends know what you're watching. Let them know, and let them know how good we are. Speaking of what we're watching right now, that was the whole premise of this show, what we are watching. And I'll take it away, and I will start with what I am watching. And what I have been watching mostly is anime. And the reason that this has happened is because about 6 weeks ago, I want to say it was like maybe June 15th or so, I was looking for something to watch. And a good friend of mine, Nick from the Bayou City Boys over on the SLG network, who is also an anime fan, was telling me about One Piece. So I started to get curious about it. And by the way, you can watch the Bayou City Boys over on the SLG network across all social media platforms. On Twitch, it's SLG Network. On Facebook, it's the SLG Network. On YouTube, it's the SLG Network. Head over there, give them a like, give them a follow. It costs you nothing, and it does a ton for them. Every show on that network is fantastic. I can't speak more highly about a network and the way that it is run. And some of my good friends have shows on that network. Nick, Caleb, Calvin, Draven, and then you have the Around the Ropes guys, John, Carl, Costa. They're all fantastic. So, if you don't already follow them, give them a follow, give them a like, give them a share, and subscribe to them. They will appreciate it. And tell them that the guys over at the BJD Podcast sent you. They'll enjoy it. They'll get a kick out of it. So anyway, one of the animes that I have been watching for the past 6 weeks nonstop is One Piece. Okay? Now, I'm at episode 835 out of, I think it's 1200. Hey, welcome back, Kev. I was just telling them about me starting One Piece and talking about how our friend Nick over from the Bayou City Boys over on the SLG network put me onto it, and I appreciate that.
That's the one thing that I can't, I've never been, not that I can't, I probably could, but I've never been able to really get into is anime and manga and all that. I've had a couple of friends try to, you should go and watch this. I'm like, I really can't get into it. For some reason, it's just not my thing. And all the more good. Remember, I think I said this in episode 1. I got a friend of mine who, she grew up a Star Trek fan, and she would say that's better than Star Wars versus me. If you haven't noticed that, and behind me.
For those of you that are listening, Kevin was just pointing to some of his Star Wars Darth Vader memorabilia that he's got over his right shoulder. And
got a Millennium Falcon
directly behind
board. Him. I got a Stormtrooper and a Vader Lego. I've got a couple of Star Wars mugs. And then my bookshelf behind me is just the top 3 is just Star Wars.
Yes, we can see that. And if you want to check out Kevin's digs, you should probably check out the video on demand or check us out when we're live on Twitch.
Yep.
So here's the thing, Kev. You said that you can't get into anime and manga. I haven't done the mangas. I haven't been that brave yet because there's this whole reading from right to left instead of left to right, and I can't really process that. But what I did and the way that I fell into it is, and there are going to be some anime fans that are listening to this, and they are probably going to either shut us off or going to start getting hate messages because I don't watch subbed animes. Now, you have to understand, in the world of anime, there are two different types of animes. There are subbed animes,
I know that,
which have just the subtitles and the characters are speaking the original language, whether it's all depends on what studio is doing it, where they're located, Japanese, Korean, Taiwanese. That's subbed. You have the subtitles on the bottom, kind of like the old school Godzilla movies, right? And then you have dubbed, which is usually the only thing that I have ever watched in anime. And when you watch only dubbed, they kind of look at you as a snob because, oh, you're not going to watch it because it's not dubbed. Yes, you're right. Because I am the type of person, no matter how much I enjoy watching something, I'm going to phase out at some point. Meaning, there will be a 9-year-old running across my screen, running across my living room at some point that I have to pay attention to. Or I have a wife that comes home and likes to talk, and sometimes I'll talk to her. So having it dubbed, I can still pay attention to it. I can still follow it while doing other things. Whereas with subbed, it requires your full devotion because you have to read the subtitles. So, getting back to starting an anime, might I suggest, Kev, that you go into your Netflix queue and you add one single anime, give it a shot, Kengan Ashura. Now, for me, it was Dragon Ball that got me into anime, right? Everybody that I have told to watch this anime on Netflix, it's a Netflix original, they absolutely love it. It is dubbed, so you don't have to worry about subtitles. But it is a fast-paced, kind of violent and gruesome fighting anime, and that's a really good. I like it because I am more of a fighting anime type of person. There are different types of anime. There's comedy anime, and there's horror anime like Death Note.
So, like, some of these I've heard of, and understand the premise of the story. I don't know if it's... Ooh, that looked like it hurt. I don't know if it's just, like, something to do with just not my thing, or, looking at DeviantArt and seeing some very, very weird fan fiction art of some of these characters.
Yeah,
that's like kind of like is that a real thing? Is that just like a fan fiction? Because like I know I've read some fan fiction stuff. It's like, ooh, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah. So fan fiction and deviant art, those are two things that I didn't think we'd talk about today. I think deviant art can be its own episode. Possibly
yeah
because while
you're probably a VOD and not a live Twitch because shit
yeah because it's that you can
and remember we're the generation that like we're looking at DeviantArt and we're like some of the shit we've seen on there is a little bit cringe, but this is also the same generation that saw Two Girls One Cup, Blue Waffle.
How about this? How about this is also the generation that grew up watching Thundercats, where Chitaro was naked in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah.
Fuck ass naked.
Internet 1.0, where you could openly, without having to go to any dark web search engines, be able to see a video of a man jumping off of a tower and dying.
Faces of Death.
You know, some old school shit that, you know, has warped and led to where we all are now.
Right. Hey, Kev, you know what happens when you take the Internet 1.0 and Faces of Death and combine it with DeviantArt? You know what you get?
Emotional damage.
That's what you get.
Yep, that's what you get.
So, getting back to... So, I told you to watch King and Ashur, and I told you why. Now, getting back to the animes that I'm watching, and it looks like that I'm not looking at you, and it's because I've got notes on my phone. I have been watching One Piece. Now, it's 1,200 plus episodes. I'm at episode 834 right now. And so the last 20 episodes that I have watched have been kind of a drag. And I don't mean a drag like the story's dragging, but they only have up to episode 819 dubbed. So anything 819 and after, it's all subbed. And it's a real grind for me to watch it. And they don't know when the dubs are going to catch up to the subbed animes, which is the downside. Now, what I have noticed with this anime and a couple other animes that I have watched is there's a lot of character building. They add a lot of character depth. The downside is there can also be filler episodes. So sometimes, you know, within like the first couple minutes of an episode, you can kind of understand what kind of episode it's going to be. And at that point, you can treat it like a baseball game, which is you just kind of have it on in the background while you do other stuff, cook dinner, do some homework, watch some kids, you know, or you can just shut it off and, you know, come back towards the end. Now, the crazy thing that I absolutely love about pretty much almost every anime that I have been watching, aside from the character depth, is the writing and the plot twists. It is by far, story-wise and building the story, so much better than normal TV. I mean, obviously because it's animation, so they can do pretty much anything they want. So that helps. But when you get invested in characters, and a lot of this, there are going to be a lot of similarities between this and pro wrestling. When you get invested in the characters emotionally, you can't help it. You can't help but want to know, and you can't help but tune in to the next episode because you want to see. You want to be strung along. On top of that, I also, when I found out that episode 818 was the last dubbed episode of One Piece, I went and watched Vinland Saga. Now, Vinland Saga might ring a bell for a lot of anime fans because it was an Amazon Prime exclusive anime for a very long time. Well, it is now available on Netflix. And reason being is because what I believe is they have announced that Vinland Saga is getting a season 2. So they dubbed it. They dubbed season 1 because season 1 all this time has not been dubbed. They dubbed season 1. Netflix has the rights to season 1 right now dubbed so that more people can watch it. And let me tell you something. It is fantastic. The story of Vinland Saga, and not to give too much away, is a story about a boy who is raised as a fighter. Obviously, it has to do with Vikings. And it is fantastic. I can't really give too much more away because it all intertwines. It's definitely something that I recommend. And then the final anime that I've been watching is Attack on Titan. And I recently finished or caught up to Attack on Titan. And let me tell you, it is not the way it starts. is not anywhere close to what you how it ends or what you think will happen when you come to the end of season 3. Again, you want to talk about plot twists? Holy shit. The plot twists in that are fantastic. And the reason they are fantastic is because it's well written. And as much as you don't, and I found myself doing this, I found myself finding a lot of characters in Attack on Titan that I couldn't stand for the first 3 episodes that I saw them in. Then I started to like them because they have redeeming qualities or they do something redeeming. And then you're like, oh, okay, I like them. And you like them for like 10 episodes. And then you get swerved. And boy, do you get swerved with some of them. It is absolutely crazy. Now, on top of the animes that I have been watching, obviously sports are there. Professional wrestling is there as well. Although I haven't really been watching a whole lot of professional wrestling until this past Friday when news broke of the 77-year-old former chairman of the board, Vincent Kennedy McMahon, announcing his retirement from all of professional wrestling. Also, what has been announced is that Paul Triple H Levesque is now in charge of creative, as Bruce Pritchard has stepped back. Now, whether Bruce Pritchard has stepped back, or was told to, in the immortal words of Vince McMahon at the 1987 Slammy Awards, stand back.
Stand back. Stand back.
The story on that has not fully developed, and we don't know. We don't even know if Bruce Pritchard will still have a job.
Somebody tweeted today, and it's good that we talk about this because then we can talk about what I've been watching and more of what I've not been watching besides the Atlanta Braves. I just wanted to go when, MLB blackout restrictions. In 2022, the NFL even got rid of their blackout restrictions for games. Why does the MLB front office insist on killing the sport they want to save with doing this stupid fucking shit?
Because it's part of the unwritten rules of baseball, Kevin.
Oh, and that's another fucking thing about baseball. The unwritten, I respect Madison Bumgarner as a pitcher. He's a fantastic pitcher, always was. But he is such a hardo for these unwritten, don't pimp out a home run. Run the bases like you know what you're doing and you've been there before. Don't pimp it out. You're being a baby. Thank God Victor Robles has a sense of humor. Victor Robles hit a home run, pimped it out a little bit. Madison Bumgarner called him a clown. So what did Victor Robles do on the dugout the next game? Wore a clown nose. Good on you, Victor Robles. We need more guys like that. We need more guys like a Chaz Chisholm or Tim Anderson or Fernando Tatis Jr. Yes, I know. I caught myself this time, though. We need an Acuna Jr. who does the LeBron James little shimmy step or does, the frozen rope celebrations. We need stuff like this. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're not going to get to the kids. You're just going to keep doing the olds, and eventually the olds will die, and you'll have nobody fucking watching your game, and then you're dead, too.
You know what I think?
I want off this rock. That's what I think.
Controversial take. Bring back PEDs. Regulate them. Open up a separate side of the Hall of Fame.
You go to certain podcasts, that's not controversial. You talk to me, it sure as hell isn't controversial.
No, I know that it's not controversial for you or me.
Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, those 4 right there should be Hall of Famers. And they're not. Because
who were the first 2 that you mentioned?
Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have my own personal reasons as to why Roger Clemens shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. That fucking turncoat fuck.
No. He's now come out and said, I think I'm more of a Red Sox player. And I think in recent years he's gone and said if I do get in the Hall of Fame, he probably would put the B on his hat.
he fucking
He
better.
didn't play all that long in New York. I thought he was there for, when I got into baseball in the late 90s, he was on the Jays.
Yeah, he went from the Sox to the
never-
Jays to the Astros to
Yeah.
New York with Pettit.
The Astros was late career. It was after the Yankees. It went
Was it?
Red Sox, traded to the Blue Jays, played in Toronto for a couple of years, and then signed with the Yankees in 99 or 2000. I never knew he was a Red Sox player until 2003.
Only Red Sox pitcher to ever hit 1,000. He literally has the best batting average in Red Sox history as a pitcher. His one time at bat was an on base hit. I was in 6th grade, so I want to say like 93, maybe 94-ish.
That's awesome. Look,
Yep.
I'm the best hitter in all of Major League Baseball. Wow, how are you the best? I have 1,000 batting average.
It's
Holy
you
shit,
can
That's an awesome batting average.
actually go on YouTube.
5 times.
You can actually go on YouTube and look it up, and you will see he mocks like he mocks his teammates, but it's in a funny way because when he goes up at bat, you see him. He's wearing all of the armor. He's wearing the forearm guard, the hand guard, the elbow guard, 2 shin guards,
Yep.
the helmet, the mouthpiece. He had
And
a
yeah,
little bit of fun.
So he got traded to Toronto in '97. I think it was a trade to Toronto. I don't think he signed there as a free agent.
I don't
and then
know.
he
Yaki
signed
Trust
with
did so many
Yankees.
weird things.
Yeah, true. See, before, as a Red Sox fan, even if you're a younger one like myself, or if you're like my father or older parent or older generations who've seen some shit, we at least know the history, us youngins, because we've looked it up and we're told that, Yaki Trust was the shits. Like,
Fucking
J.A.
drizzling
fantastic.
shits.
J.H., jack off fast, jack off the ass, hemorrhoid, whatever. Him, Mr. Softy.
Do you smell burnt toast?
Ooh, I don't smell burnt toast. Shut up.
Okay, good.
I like that one, Mr. Softy, because he has a very soft voice, and
He's got a soft soul.
He's got a very soft heart and very thin skin, even though he claims to have thick skin. Probably explains the hemorrhoids.
Anybody that talks that softly cannot have thick skin. It's just not. Sorry, it's not part of your DNA, bro.
No, it's not. So anyway, what was it? What the hell were we talking about?
We were talking about unwritten rules and regulated PEDs and how it's not really controversial for me or you, but for a lot of the baseball purists, would
the
flip their
DH
shit.
Real baseball. I don't know. We've got.
No, you know what the DH does, in my opinion? Saves your fucking pitcher.
Yeah. I get it. In Japan, the pitcher hits and hits better because they actually teach him how to hit. Yeah, well, we're not Japan. Okay, so with Shohei Ohtani coming over here and doing what he can do, that's going to be one of those once-in-a-generation type of players. Most players from Japan, they know how to pitch, but they're going to be used more as a hitter. Or they know how to pitch, and they're going to be used as a pitcher.
Right.
Shohei Ohtani has proven to be good at both.
Yeah, and that's not going to be permanent. It's literally because he's young right now.
Yeah, there's going to be a point. I don't know if he's going to be able to sustain this pitching and hitting thing. He might just turn into a 100% hitter at some point.
Oh, I definitely see a DH in his future.
Oh yeah, well, he's a DH when he's pitching.
Right. Well,
And then when he's playing,
okay.
I think they stick him in the outfield, or they were sticking him in the outfield when he would play as a positional player. If not, then yeah, he's a DH. But he's a once-in-a-generation player. He's and the numbers kind of back it up. He's seemingly the Babe Ruth of our generation.
Yes.
And we
Absolutely.
know how Babe Ruth's career ended. He got the name Solna SWAT for a reason.
Indeed.
But these unwritten rules and all these, the DH is going to ruin all the. I was one of the ones who was like, man, we're going to really put a guy on second base in
See,
extras.
I loved that. I fucking loved that because I'm all about pace of the game.
Well, I've started to because of that reason. Like, I'm watching tonight, and some of these pitchers, it's Nate Eovaldi and I forget who the one for the Cleveland Guardians is, but it's like, they get the ball, and they stare at the catcher, and they stare at the catcher.
They shake off 6 signs.
Shake off a couple of signs. They stare at the catcher, they shake off another sign. They stare, they shake off. Okay, now I got one. Got to set it in the glove. Make sure I don't tip my pitch to the batter or the
runner behind.
Coaches. All right, I'm set. Okay, wind up in the pitch, and it's a ball. No, that was a strike. Oh, well, it's bad umpiring, so hey, it is what it is. All right, I'll go and take the ball back. I'll go and do my cases on the mound. I'll go and do the thing with the rosin bag. I'll go and do this, and then back to this. And it's like 2 minutes go by, and maybe one pitch
or if you're David Price, you adjust your cup 14 times.
Yeah. Versus a game of the 90s and earlier, 80s, 70s, going back, where guy comes in. Okay, yep, I want that pitch, all right? And boom, gets the ball back. Okay, how about this one? Okay, and boom, gets the ball back. And in that same 1 minute span, you could have 3 or 4 pitches thrown.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, what the fuck? Also, Christian Vasquez, let's go.
Right? Oh, your boy's up. Franchi Cadero up at bat.
Yeah, and here comes double play. See how the confidence, you lose the confidence?
The pitch is in, and it's a foul ball.
Oh, yeah, I have YouTube TV. You've got cable.
Yeah. Yes.
That is the one downside to streaming everything and not having cable anymore is I'm now a second or two behind at everybody else with the delay.
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, it's not YouTube TV. It's MLB TV. I get my TVs mixed up. There's too many TVs.
You can just say streaming. It's streaming.
Yeah, it's a streaming thing that this one I don't pay for. I like this one. So, no. Before we got on this track of baseball, we were talking about Mr. McMahon.
Yes, we were talking about Mr. McMahon. And
Mr. McMahon, what a fucking train wreck these last 10 minutes have been.
So here's the thing. For those of you that don't know, Vince McMahon, there was a Wall Street Journal article that stated that Vince McMahon had paid an obscene amount, millions of dollars, to multiple women in NDAs for sexual favors that he had received. One female who was implicated in this investigation done by the board of directors and Wall Street Journal even had her pay doubled after she blew him. So she gets a 100% pay increase. Vince McMahon at the time said, nope, it was personal funds. That was all my money. It has since come out, and now, mind you, him saying that it was all his money, personal funds, not company money, came out the same time that it came out that she got a 100% pay increase. Now, Kev, I'm not a businessman by any means. I am not a CEO. I am not a chairman of the board, nor do I claim to be one on TV. But if you increase somebody's pay 100% because they blew you, is that not using company funds? Because you increased her pay 100% and all she's got to do is not say anything.
So that one, yeah. that one is a little tricky because I know it has since come out that he used $14.6 million of company funds.
Yeah,
to be able
I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
to pay
That was-
these women off.
Right, because and then he was just going to pay it back.
Yeah, and you just pay it back. I got there first. Ha. So, like, I don't know. It's a little tricky, to go in and put it that way.
That's what
I mean,
she
it
said.
is technically, yes, yes, it is what she said. It would be using company funds because you're increasing her pay to basically keep her quiet,
Right.
and we don't condone that on this podcast. Just to let everybody know, we don't condone any of that behavior.
No, I don't condone using company funds to pay hush money to your multiple mistresses because that's called embezzlement. Especially if you're a publicly traded company.
Oh yeah, that's what we were not condoning. We were not condoning that.
Embezzlement is bad. There's a little
Yeah.
organization from the alphabet soup called the SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission. They are now looking to prosecute and investigate Mr. McMahon because of this.
The other alphabet soup company called the IRS is also going to be knocking on the door.
Yes.
Come
and knock on our door.
No, please go away. So, I think this is obviously, it's a new day because Friday was announced that Vince McMahon, this was Friday, July 22nd, Vince McMahon was retiring from the WWE. I looked, far enough. Yeah!
There you go. I didn't want to say anything. For those of you that are listening and not watching us live, there was just a home run hit by our Boston Red Sox. Deposited
Bobby
into
must have
center
heard all the
field.
rumors and back conjecture from some people going, they want to trade me, I'll show them. I'll go and have 2 home runs in one night.
You know what? Go for it. Get us out of last place.
Please. Though I do have to go and give props to the Baltimore Orioles. That team is definitely on the up and up, and it's a joy.
It's always fun when you have a division, not a conference, rival that you see them doing things the right way. They're not buying progress. They're not trying to buy more rings. Yes, we're looking at you, New York.
So, you know what? I don't think the New York Yankees are really buying rings anymore. Since the last time they were in the World Series was 2009.
Well, yeah. I mean,
you say it's worked, though. At the same time, you can't really say this new approach has worked either. So maybe George Steinbrenner had a point.
Well, I mean, think about it. They threw. If it wasn't for the injuries and the bad luck they had last year, they could have gone farther. You have Stanton, you have Judge, you had Rizzo. I mean,
Joey Gallo actually doing better than strikeout or home run. Their pitching this year has been excellent, unless Garrett Cole plays Rafael Devers. For Pete's sake, I mean, got to go and suspend Devers for the rest of the season, Otherwise, for Pete's sake, and God forbid.
Kevin, what the fuck are you trying to say right now?
Garrett Cole sucks.
This motherfucker, do you speak it?
I do speak.
This motherfucker, do you speak it?
Are you done?
Are you done?
I am done.
Okay.
Brain fried.
Yeah.
Beer.
Clearly. Clearly, because that was
No. Garrett Cole is not a good pitcher when he plays against Rafael Devers. He's not a good pitcher when he doesn't have trash cans and can't work. And it's also, he's just not a good person. I mean, come on. The opening day ceremony went too long, so you're going to bitch and complain? Dude, be a man, lighten up.
Yeah, there's something. Honestly, you know why I don't like Garrett Cole? Because the first time I saw him, I looked at him and I was just like, I was skeeved out. Dude just gave me the skeeves, and I was like, meh. I don't care who you are. I already don't like you.
Oh yeah.
So with that being said, Kev, what the fuck are you watching?
What am I watching? Well, currently watching the Red Sox. So that's an obvious surdation, if I do say so myself. I do a lot of sports. Like if I'm not watching the Red Sox, or if they have an off day because of traveling, or just it's an off day, I'll go throw on another baseball game. Doesn't matter who. Can't watch Braves. Already covered that part.
Yeah, that's because that's because you don't get the Braves over in your with your MLB TV, right?
Nope. Because of blackout restrictions, because the regional sports network is in my area, but I can't get the regional sports network on YouTube TV. But before I get into another little bit of a tizzy over that, so one thing I'm not watching is pro wrestling, but it's not because I don't like it.
Mm-hmm.
It's because where the shifts I work, I don't really get the chance to sit down and watch it. So I end up having to go on Hulu and watch the short and condensed versions, or I go onto YouTube and I just go watch certain clips of like, oh, hey, Alexa Bliss is here.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, to go and put a little bit of a bow on the wrestling topic that I know that we've just been like for 20 minutes been trying to go and cover, and we just trains just going everywhere tonight. I'm like,
yeah, it's okay. We work with it.
I am the Doctor Who quote, which is a show I do watch. People assume the time is a strict progression between cause and effect, when actually it's more like a great big ball of wibbly wobbly timey-wimey stuff. My brain is just wibbly wobbly tonight.
Well, you've been busting your ass in real time at work, and this is your first day off of the week, so it's to be expected. It happens. There's I said, like we said in the first episode, there's going to be some kinks. We're just going to roll with them.
Yep. There's going to be some kinks. There may be some kinkies, but there's definitely going to be some kinks.
Daddy. That was a daddy right there.
Yep.
So far, we have had two brothers, a daddy, no jacks.
I can go and get my bottle of Jack if we want that.
Hey, there's a bottle of Jack for you. There's a Jack.
Yeah, there's Jack right there. All right. Going places. That's that Family Guy, cutaway gag. Like, I love it in movies when they go and say, the title of the movie in the movie, I guess that's why I have to do Superman 4, The Quest for Peace. You said it! So, well, that went over with Ray like a lead balloon. So,
well, I'm sorry. I was checking our Discord because I kept getting it's down at the bottom of my screen. It's just fucking flashing, and so normally it's like a different server that I'm a part of, but it was actually our Discord, and I was just trying to figure out what the fuck is being said in the sports entertainment channel, because it didn't fucking it still doesn't make sense to me, and it's just. It could just be the fact that I'm trying to listen and read, and it's nothing against Norm, but yeah, I was having difficulty understanding that, and that's why I completely spaced out and missed what you were saying. My apologies.
No, it's okay. It's okay. We could just go with the original one and say it felt like a lead balloon. Just lead balloon.
Yep. The Hindenburg, if you will.
There were no skyrockets in flight with that one.
No afternoon delight? Might I suggest hymns or Roman for your issues? Maybe even some Blue Chew.
We got to get one of them to sponsor the show.
That right there, that is, I need you to cut that, clip it, so we can send it off.
Listen, are you not having any skyrockets in flight? Because that means there's no afternoon delight.
Are you having no afternoon delight because there are no skyrockets in flight?
Ooh, that's better. That's betterly worded than mine.
I am glad that it is betterly worded.
That was on purpose.
I know. I am well aware.
Me fail English? That impossible.
Nah.
All right. So, on Kevin Wilson's list of things he's watching, well, let me tell you, watch a lot of shit. And by shit, I just mean like in a general sense. It's not like I watch bad stuff. But there was that point in my life where I watched Jersey Shore a lot. So,
are you watching the what is it? The Jersey Shore Family Vacation? No.
I stopped watching Jersey Shore like when I was 24, and it had only been around for like 2 or 3 years at that point. I just saw that like, right, it's the same shit every season. So why the fuck am I watching? And I stopped watching it. It's the same thing with Ridiculousness or
man, I used to love that show.
I used to love watching Ridiculousness, and then I realized it's just MTV's version of Tosh.0, but with less funny people.
Well, you see, I like Dyrdek. I really like Dyrdek. I think Dyrdek does a good job. I think Stilo Brim does a good job, and Chanel is just Chanel.
Well, Chanel's.
I'm glad that he brought Chanel over from that show that he used to have on MTV. I think it was like with his brother. They had the warehouse.
Yeah, I think I remember what you're talking about.
And she was his secretary. So I'm glad. I'm glad because I did like Chanel. Although I realized probably 4 episodes into Ridiculousness that if she doesn't stop laughing at every fucking thing, I'm shutting the goddamn show off.
Yeah, no, she would always laugh at everything. Some of the other
everything
I used to watch were Viva La Bam and Jackass. I love those 2 shows. So let's see. You know what? I'm just gonna go down this little road here. One of the things that I liked watching in my youth, thank you to my dad for this, is Beavis and Butthead. And on Paramount Plus, they have Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe.
Oh boy.
Streaming exclusive. It's not a world ending. It's not like this, like, oh my god, this should be up for an Oscar for Best Picture or Best Animation. Oh no, not at all.
It's fucking Beavis and Butthead.
Is it absolutely what you expect from a Beavis and Butthead film from Joe Judd? Is it Joe Judd, I think?
Yeah, sounds about right.
Lake Judd.
Yes, yeah,
Judge.
Joe Judd.
Joe Judge is Patriots OC.
Quarterback's cop. No, he's quarterback's coach. He's quarterback's coach.
QBC, TBD, LG, soon to be, I don't
BVD?
know. Anyway, Beavis and Butthead Do America, the sequel, if you will. Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. And it's exactly what you think of with Beavis and Butthead. Nice. It has its, check it out. We're going to score.
We're going to score.
We're going to score.
I'm the cornhole.
You have your cornholio part to the show. So that's one thing that I watch. I've watched a legit metric fuck ton of movies.
And that is an actual weighted measure.
Yes.
An actual fuck ton, folks. That's about 7 Volkswagen Beetles.
I watch a lot of documentaries. I watch a lot of British TV shows. I mentioned Doctor Who earlier. That's one that I've watched. The news came out earlier this week that Disney Plus is trying to get streaming rights to the brand new season
Of Doctor Who.
Of Doctor Who with
Ooh.
the new Doctor, who is the actor Shuti Gatwa. I think that's the pronunciation of the last name. So we're going to have the first black male Doctor.
Mm.
We just had the first female,
Mhm.
and then we had a black female in the Timeless Child arc of Doctor Who. Now we're going to have a black male as a Doctor. It's awesome, and especially you see, God, I forget the name of the show right now. Shuti Gatwa was also in the show. Where is it? To the Wikipedia I go. The show Sex Education on Netflix, which is a good show.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Is that like Pen 15 on Hulu?
kind of. So speaking of Netflix, a lot of their
Netflix.
original stuff I go and watch. Like I've just recently, and I know it's like 6 years late on this, but I've just recently started watching Stranger Things.
Ain't nothing wrong with it, bud.
Oh no!
So here's the funny thing: is I watched like the first 2 episodes of Stranger Things, and then I haven't watched it since. And I started watching season 4 when it came out. And you know what the best part is? They do so many flashbacks. It doesn't fucking matter.
So I probably should have started with season 4, but I started with season 1 because I got to go back to the beginning and watch this. I'm not doing what I did.
There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying.
Well, the reason I got into Doctor Who was because they had in Britain, Great Britain for the BBC, it's series, not seasons.
Mm-hmm.
So they had series 5, which was the 11th Doctor, who had just regenerated. And me going into it is like, oh, it's a sci-fi show. Yeah, let's go watch this. And I'm like, wait, he's talking about a new body? Wait, what the fuck am I watching? And then I just got hooked, and then went back to the other seasons. And those other seasons, while they were suspenseful still to go and see just what the 9th and 10th Doctor did, I knew in the back of my mind, I know they survive.
Right.
But then after I was all caught up, and then caught up with Series 6, from that point on, it then turned into, is this the moment where he's going to... No, this is the moment. Okay, good. This is
right, because now you're following along in real time.
Along to it in real time, exactly. Stranger Things. I'm going to have to go and play catch up, which I'll be able to.
Mm-hmm.
And what really piqued my interest is, all right, so they did a Kate Bush song, and now they're doing Master of Puppets. What other songs do they play?
Dude, that Master of Puppets scene was pretty awesome.
Yep, and of course there's the remix of Chrissy Wake Up on TikTok, which I'm like, where's this from? Why is this so familiar? Then I see the actual scene, I'm like, oh, because that looks like that Stranger Things show. I should probably watch this.
Right? And then come to find out, he actually plays Master of Puppets.
Yeah.
Like I saw a video of that, and he's just shredding it. And I was like, oh shit.
Oh, yeah. And that's, for me, we could talk about this one day with a music discussion. Metallica, when I think of Metallica, the first song I think of is Master of Puppets.
Okay.
That's me. And it's weird that that's me, because most people, when they hear the band, I'll use this as an example, when they hear the band Led Zeppelin and they know Led Zeppelin songs, the first 3 off the bat are usually a combination of Stairway to Heaven, Whole Lotta Love, or either Black Dog or Rock and Roll.
Immigrant Song.
Immigrant Song, especially.
That is the first one that I think of when somebody says Zeppelin.
But me? No. It's none of those. It's not even Kashmir, which is one of their uber popular ones as well.
Yeah.
For me, when I'm thinking of a song that I love, out of Led Zeppelin's catalog, I think of Achilles' Last Stand.
Wow, throwing it back there, huh?
Oh yeah. And I love it because it has such a blues vibe. In My Time of Dying. These are songs you don't hear often on the radio because they're both 10-minute songs.
Mm-hmm.
But Achilles' Last Stand is just like a masterclass of Jimmy Page and John Bonham on guitar and drums, respectively. And then In My Time of Dying, it's that blues feel throughout the entire song. And then, of course, I also think of Trampled Underfoot because that's such a cool vibing song, you know?
Yep.
But that's the thing with me with music is I'm so in tune with a lot of music that I don't think of, like when you think of the band Shinedown, a lot of people are going to think Second Chance, or a lot of people are going to think Save Me. I don't. I think of like their B-sides.
Sound of Madness.
I love that song. But that's not a song that I think of when I think of Shinedown. I think of some of their B-side tracks, like What a Shame off the Sound of Madness album.
And Save Me was Remy Zero. I don't think it was Shinedown.
No, that was Shinedown.
Hold on. Are you talking about the Smallville theme?
No. Someone save me if you will, then take away.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
There you go.
All right. Yeah. You said Save Me, and I was like, from Smallville? That's not Shinedown. That's Remy Zero.
Nope. I think you're right. It's been years since I've watched anything Smallville.
I fucking loved that show. It's funny. I loved that show, right? And then I met my wife, and my wife was the only other person in like a 60-mile radius that I spoke to that watched that fucking show. It was on one day, and I was like, "Oh, I fucking love this show." And my wife was like, "Really?" Well, at the time, she wasn't my wife, but she was like, "Really?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I got all the box sets because that was back when DVD. I don't know if you know this or not, Kevin, but DVDs used to be sold of shows, and they were sold in box sets. Each season was a different box set.
You go and explain this. Un momento, por favor.
Oh boy! For those of you that are listening, Kevin just muted his camera, went backstage, and has disappeared. I am fearing for myself and for our listeners at this current time. However, this current time is a great opportunity to tell you about where you can find us. You can find the BJD Podcast streaming live every week on twitch.tv/BJD Pod. You can also find us on YouTube by searching up BJD Pod in the YouTube search bar. We do not have our custom URL because we don't have enough followers. We don't have enough followers because we are brand new. We are only working on episode 3 here, folks. And in order for us to get that custom URL where we can be like, head over to youtube.com/BJD pod, hit that like button, subscribe, and share us with your friends, we need your help. It costs you $3.99 to head on over to YouTube, check our videos on demand, check out the clips that you like, follow, subscribe, like them, and share them with your friends. Let them know what you're watching. Let them know that we're pretty damn good at what we do, and we're pretty entertaining. Check these guys out. They got a brand new podcast. I kind of like them. They're all over the place. There's one guy, he just can't seem to formulate a coherent thought at times. And then there's Kevin. So, we're good. I see Kevin backstage, and Kevin has come in.
Man, I was thinking you were talking about me with the no coherent thoughts. And then there's Kevin. I'm like, fuck, what am I then? I thought I had this down. Pat. I was the one that was not going to be able to say anything coherent. And now I'm not. Shit.
Trying to steal my gimmick, boy?
I'm the sexy one. Right.
There you go. See that?
Buddy. So,
sexy Boston boy looking for love in South Carolina.
DVD box sets like this.
The complete Monty Python's Flying Circus DVD box set. That is amazing.
Now, we will learn about different trees. Number 1, the Lodge. Picture of a large tree shows up. The Lodge. And the theme throughout the entire episode of that particular episode of Monty Python's Flying Circus was the different trees were just different pictures of the
different trees.
Lodge. No,
was it?
Not different trees. It just was they would sprinkle in a different tree, but then the next one would be the Lodge. And then, of course, you have the standard gag of Michael Palin in some sort of like homeless vagrant disguise, running up to the camera in some hilarious way, coming up to the camera out of breath. And then Monty Python's Flying Circus.
So we've covered.
Yes, I know about DVD box sets, Ray.
Well, listen. Sometimes you guys, I never know. I never know. And I mean, you guys, like, I'm talking about you. I'm talking about Norm.
No, you're talking the collective you. I get it. However, my parents raised me right to understand and appreciate the classics. We've got a room dedicated in the house to a vinyl record player, and we've got a cassette player.
Nice.
Because my younger brother has decided that cassette tapes are back in style for him, and I'm like, okay, cool.
I mean, listen, that's cool and all. That's cool and all, but he does realize everything sounds better off of vinyl, though, right?
He does.
Okay. And he still decided to go with cassettes.
Well, so we've got both. And he's got a portable cassette tape player.
Nice.
All right, so like he's got the hookup on all this shit.
Mm-hmm.
We have so many, like, you know, eventually I'll get my own record player and I'll go and get Led Zeppelin 1 through 10. I'll get the complete vinyl recordings of everything Led Zeppelin, and I will just be sitting in my room going from Good Times, Bad Times, all the way to I'm Gonna Crawl. And
sounds like you already got it mapped out, bud.
Well, if you didn't figure out, I'm a massive Led Zeppelin fan. At the fact that I said that my top songs were Achilles' Last Stand, In My Time of Dying, and Trampled Underfoot.
Yeah, no, I think you made that very clear.
Yep.
I absolutely do. So, here's
back
the thing.
to what I was watching.
Right. So you're a fan of Doctor Who. You're a fan of Monty Python.
Yep.
Have you ever seen? So you have some knowledge of British comedies. Have you ever seen the show Are You Being Served?
Yes, I have seen Are You Being Served.
I fucking loved that show.
It is so good. I love it. There's a lot of British shows I've watched.
Mrs. Slocum and Captain Peacock absolutely... Well, no. Mrs. Slocum, Captain Peacock, and Mr. Humphreys absolutely make that show. Because you have Mrs. Slocum talking about her cat. But for those of you listening and tuning in, she doesn't reference her cat by her cat. She doesn't say, my cat. She uses another word for her cat. You can use your imagination and figure that out. And then you have Captain Peacock, who is a staunch World War I veteran. Because it took place between World War I and II, right? Or did it take place after II? I think it was 1 and 2.
I think... hang on, let me...
Either way, Captain Peacock was a veteran of one of the world wars. And then you have Mr. Humphreys, who is so flamboyantly gay at a time where that was just not even acceptable.
Give me 1 second.
It made for great humor. It was absolutely fantastic. I remember watching it with my grandmother and grandfather in their parlor, and I was laughing at Mrs. Slocum's jokes, and I got in trouble for it. Because how was I at 10, 11 years old laughing at that? When in actuality, what I was doing is I was just laughing whenever the audience laughed. Because I didn't know what the fuck was going on.
And guess what is on? I believe it is on.
What's up?
There might be another subscription with Prime Video. So supposedly, I guess, are you being said? Yeah, I'd have to get another subscription or something. Are you being served as on Amazon Prime Video?
It's actually on the Roku channel, which I have because all of my TVs in my house are Roku.
Yeah, so is mine. But in order to watch anything on my Roku TV, I have to plug in my Roku streaming stick on my Roku TV if I want to stream anything on Roku.
Oh, that's right, because yours is 7 weeks from Sunday.
What had happened was around the time of the third stimulus check, I believe, when President Biden was first elected, and he, it was after January 21.
Yeah.
They were putting the third stimulus out. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to put this in the bank, or I might go and throw. Oh, that was off balance. All right, I'm going to put this in the bank. Maybe I'll take a couple hundred. Maybe go and buy something fun for myself because hey, it's something fun.
Right.
And then maybe I'll go and take a little bit of money, and I can kind of invest, or maybe buy a couple more crypto coins or something or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turned on a NASCAR race on a Sunday, and my old TV started going a little fuzzy. And then all the color went out. It was all pixelated. I'm like, you got to be fucking kidding me.
Well, I guess I know what I'm doing.
Yep. Well, I guess my stimulus is going to a TV. And because I was in kind of a rush at source to go and get a TV, I ended up picking up a TCL Roku TV from Best Buy. It's a 50-inch. It's a nice TV. I love it. It's great.
I mean, I've got a couple of, I've got mostly Vizios, but I've got a couple TCLs. I think the one downstairs in the basement in the little gym area is a TCL, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong.
Yeah. So I was using the Roku, and I had a Roku streaming box. Like the little box that came with for Roku. And I had that for a while, but then I stopped because I'm like, oh, well, I got a Roku TV. I can do this. Oh, anytime I went on to Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, any of them, if I scrolled for too long trying to find something, it would slow down, and then my TV would shut itself off and turn itself back on and go to the main menu.
Oh.
So I looked into the issue, and apparently it's a bad Wi-Fi card, and that the get around to it is to plug in a Roku device into your Roku TV. So I look back now to the year and a half that I've had this TV.
Mm-hmm.
Once I am living on my own, this will be in my bedroom because it's a good bedroom TV, and I will go and get a Samsung smart TV because that TV was great.
Just go with a Vizio.
Or a Vizio. I haven't heard anything bad about a Vizio TV.
I love my Vizios, and I have no.
Tie fucking game because you can't play center field.
Jesus Christ! For those of you that are watching or listening, Kevin and I are both watching the Boston Red Sox versus Cleveland Guardians for Wednesday, July 27th, 2022, and there was a little blooper right up against the center field wall that nobody from Boston could field, and it caused Cleveland to tie the game and leave a runner on second.
And it was
top
a
of the
good
eighth.
hit.
It was a good hit. In the top of the eighth, was one out.
It was a good hit. It was a good pitch, too. It wasn't like he served up a meatball. That was a very good pitch.
No, I mean that was
Because it's John Schreiber. Of course, it's a good pitch.
yeah. I mean it all around was done well. It was pitched well. It was hit well. It was actually good baseball for a minute.
Yes. So anyway, what are some of the other ones? Another British show that I've watched in the past is Faulty Towers.
Oh, okay.
That's an excellent show. John Cleese. It's Cleese, by the way. Everybody goes and says Cleese like cheese.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no. It's like Sleaze. It's John Cleese.
Please.
I'm like, I've been saying his name wrong my entire life.
Yes.
Holy fuck.
You and about half
Everybody
a billion
else.
other people.
Um,
I enjoyed Absolutely Fabulous.
Ab Fab was fantastic.
What else did I enjoy as far as English television? Oh, the show with the ghost, the vampire, and the werewolf living together in a house. They did an American remake of it, and it was the dude that played Doomsday on Smallville. He also played in the not the Force Awakens, the fucking video game. Oh my god, I'm drawing a blank. Was it Fallen Order? Stargazer?
Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Isn't that where his character's name was Stargazer or something like that?
Star Killer.
Star Killer.
So no, that's not Fallen Order. That's
Fallen Order is the other kid.
It is Cal Kestis. That's
Force
Force
Unleashed.
Unleashed.
Yes, Sam
Witwer. Sam
Witwer.
Whitwer. Whitwer. Yes, Whitwer.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. None of us can speak English.
Oh, we are we are awesome today. Awesome. Oh, that was overmodulated. My fault, folks.
Whoa. Another one, it's kind of a black comedy, dark comedy type of show. Black Books. Another British show. That's a good one. I don't know where. Let me go and do a quick Google search. I don't know where to find that because I'd love to go watch it again. Oh, hey, look at that. Another one that's on the Roku channel.
Dude.
So just go to the Roku channel, folks, and you'll be able to watch everything.
You want to see a good show, and it was on AMC Plus. It was I think it's called Gangs of London.
I've heard that one before.
Bro, you need to check that out. And also, can we talk about just a sidebar here? Can we just talk about the fact that there was one point in history where cutting the cord was cheaper than actually having cable?
Yes. And that was because at one point Netflix had it all. They had all the it started Netflix with DVD stuff, and of course Blockbuster, their CEOs, people in power were like, yeah, renting DVDs and having them mailed to your house, that won't catch on.
That's never gonna work.
That's never gonna work, and clearly it did. Now they stream everything.
Yes.
They still have the DVD plan, by the way, folks.
Yep. Yes, they do.
They still have that. But now they stream everything. It's easier. It's more convenient. You can stream on the go. You can now download what you want to stream. And if you're flying and it's somewhere where it costs extra to use the plane's Wi-Fi, well, now you don't. You have it all downloaded on your phone. You can watch it there.
You know what I do?
Car.
I will. I'll download some whatever series I'm watching off of Netflix. I'll download it, and then I'll. Especially during the summertime at work, I'll put my phone in my pocket, play the downloaded series, and it's like a fucking podcast. It's like one of those murder mystery podcasts, Because I've already visually seen some episodes, so I can make the correlation in my head of what's going on, and then you just listen to it.
I've done that. Whoa.
So Netflix had the DVDs, and then they went to the streaming, And then you had Hulu, which at the time when Hulu first came out, it was a lot of the older stuff, a lot of the more obscure things. You know, and I know we talked about this earlier where it was like you could watch the original Thundercats series, you could watch He-Man, and I'm talking about Hulu, and then it was like you can watch old episodes of Gunsmoke.
Yep.
You know?
You can watch a lot of the oldies, a lot of the older TV shows, and then they started putting out some original content of their own. And then they got a lot of the Fox properties.
That was, I think that was their first big acquisition was a lot of the Fox property. X-Men, because that's where I was able to watch the animated series for X-Men.
Yep. Was through Hulu. But then now, at this point, you have everybody is in the streaming game. Like, Ray, you mentioned AMC Plus earlier. I mentioned Disney Plus a couple times. You mentioned ESPN Plus earlier. There's HBO Max. There's Apple TV
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus. You know, there's this Plus. Shopping is now turning into a plus, like the Walmart Plus account.
The Best Buy Extra Rewards or whatever it's called. Insider Rewards, sorry.
Insider Rewards, which I'm a part of the last two. The Walmart Plus one may or may not be a perk.
Nice.
Just, may or may not. I can neither confirm nor deny that's a worth perk.
I got you. I got a buddy that works at the Best Buy, and that extra whatever it is that's $200 a year is a definite perk for him.
Oh yeah. But Netflix now has more because, Paramount, which is Viacom, CBS. Well, we're going to take all of our stuff and put it on our streaming network. Disney. Hey, we're going to take all of our stuff off of Netflix and put it on our own our own streaming network. All the stuff that's designated towards Hulu, that will go on that one as well. So all the Fox properties, okay, Amazon is going to take some. Amazon and Netflix are the ones that will still periodically get new stuff coming in.
Yes.
But Netflix now has a lot of Forged in Fire. They've gone and taken. But they also have a lot of new originals, like a Stranger Things I mentioned earlier. Space Force is one of the shows I watch, which I found
that's funny.
I still haven't watched season 2.
Neither have I.
They just recently released Resident Evil,
which is actually, if you take away the Resident Evil name, it could actually be a really good show. My wife, we were both sick with COVID. And there were times where I would just check in on her, and she was watching it. And I was like, oh, what's this? Because it looked interesting. So I sat for a little while. And then I was like, oh, is this that new Resident Evil show? And she's like, yeah. And I'm like, but then I watched more of it, and I'm like, you know what? It's not a bad show. It just doesn't need to be named Resident Evil. Like, if you had called it Raccoon City Chronicles,
people who know about the Resident Evil franchise, they would understand if it was called The Umbrella or Raccoon City Chronicles.
Right.
But most people who don't understand would go, oh, this looks like a brand new, I want to try this out, The Umbrella Chronicles. Obviously they can't do The Umbrella Chronicles because on Netflix they have The Umbrella Academy. Right. But the Raccoon City Chronicles, people could look at that and go, Raccoon City Chronicle. I don't know. I'll go check this out. This might be pretty good. They do have a couple, I've watched the show Shameless off and on throughout its life. There's a lot of documentaries I'm looking at my Netflix watch list. I got a couple of documentaries about empires, how to become a tyrant, which was actually a very fun little documentary series. I've got one that I've yet to go and watch called Monsters Inside: The 24 Faces of Billy Milligan.
Ooh. I actually think my wife's watched that one. So listen, I love my wife. Otherwise, she wouldn't be my wife, right? But I have to preface. What I'm about to say and disclose, I feel like I have to preface it with that statement because I love my wife, but how in the fuck do you use documentaries on serial killers to fall asleep to?
Ray, I'm not touching that with a 20-foot pole.
I'm just saying, every time I go, and it's been like that for, I want to say like 3 years now, and my wife, who I love to death, says it helps me to relax.
There's a line. Excuse me. There's a line in a Metallica song for this moment for you, Ray. Sleep with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight.
Seriously. Absolutely.
Now I got that song playing on my head.
Yes. It's one of my favorite songs.
Exit light. Not actually. It's
Tonight.
all right, fuck it. Take my hand.
We're off to Never Land.
Damn. And I'm going to clip that, and it's going on TikTok.
There you go.
So let's see. What's some other ones? I've watched The Witcher on Netflix. A fantastic series. I have to go and finish. I think we can do that, Speed. I think we can go check on them. I'll do that.
So we have a comment coming in from Twitch that says, can someone please check on Ray after this podcast to make sure his wife hasn't seen this yet? I am sure that we will be okay. But yeah, Kev, you have my number.
Yep, I do. Anyway, so I've watched The Witcher on Netflix. Fantastic. And Geralt,
yes,
or Henry Cavill. It is The Witcher. And
isn't he?
by the way, folks, he's not just looks like Geralt of Rivia. He also knows the story. He knows the shit. Because he's a nerd
fan.
like us.
Yes, he was a huge fan of the books,
Not just
of the games.
He's a huge fan of this stuff. He almost lost out on the Superman audition because he was playing World of Warcraft and was in a dungeon.
Yes.
Or a raid or whatever.
It was a raid.
It was there we go. I'm like, this dude is chiseled like Chad, but he's one of us.
Mm-hmm. We have a Chad in our corner.
We have a Chad in our corner.
So, all right. So
we need to protect this man.
Seriously. You brought up Henry Cavill.
Oh.
Is he a better Geralt or is he a better Superman?
He's a better Geralt, but he is the one that was actually able to get me to watch a Superman movie and enjoy it. I have never been a Superman fan in my entire life.
Oh, I would rank him 1 and 1A in that category. 1 obviously being Geralt and 1A being Superman.
Yeah.
And I've always been a Superman fan. All the way back to George Reeves, which those of you who don't know, George Reeves played Clark Kent / Superman in the original black and white TV series.
And I was about to say, you mean Christopher Reeves? But
no,
yeah, I'm like, oh, he's going back way back.
Yes. Yeah. Nick at Night was my friend.
It's the whole, who's your Batman? And who's your Joker? Well, my Batman is going to be Kevin Conroy. My Joker is going to be Mark Hamill from the animated Batman series because that's what I loved as a kid. Mm-hmm. But some people are going to say it's Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson. Some people will say it's Adam West and Cesar Romero. Mm-hmm. Some will say it's Christian Bale and
Heath Ledger.
The late Heath Ledger. And no one will say Ben Affleck and Jared Leto.
Which is a shame because Ben Affleck, if you had given him more movies as Batman, could have been a good Batman.
Yes.
Jared Leto. What's that?
Yes. No. But Jared Leto, and then I'll say my point.
So Jared Leto, I liked I liked the version of the Joker that he used. He used a more modern version of the Red Hood Gang Joker. And if he was also given more of a chance, I feel like people would have liked his Joker character, because the character that he played was completely opposite of Heath Ledger, right? Heath Ledger played that Joker backstory that we know to a T. He played the social outcast, the psychotic, passive-aggressive serial killer. Whereas Jared Leto's Joker and the Red Hood Gang version of Joker was that more opulent, out there, flashy, I own clubs, I own restaurants, I kill people on the regular, I torture them in the club while the girls are dancing, and I feel like that there was so much untapped story to go with that, and unfortunately, because he didn't fit the mold of what people think the Joker should be, because now everybody, and it's not a knock, please don't take it as one, everybody thinks that the Joker should be played the way Heath Ledger played it. And that's not ever going to happen, because that was Heath Ledger's personal interpretation
just
of
like
the Joker.
Christian Bale, that was his personal representation of what Batman was, and Michael Keaton and Adam West.
Right.
And Adam West, you can make a case, along with Kevin Conroy, that those two were probably the closest to comic accurate that you can get.
Oh yeah, absolutely, without a doubt.
But it's all up to interpretation, especially with these comics, and especially with the MCU, MJ's not supposed to be, a black girl. She's supposed to be a white redhead. Well, that was back in, the 50s when Spider-Man first was created, and, we didn't have the inclusion.
They weren't worried about inclusion or anything like that.
And nowadays, you're probably going to see Spider-Man fall in love with somebody who's not white, because it's just, they don't care they're not white. They care that MJ fits like a glove.
Right.
Which, by the way, watching No Way Home and seeing the end and by the way, this is not a spoiler thing.
Dude.
This is not a spoiler thing. The movie's been out for long enough. If you have not gone and seen this movie, go watch this after I talk about it. If you bitch about the whole spoiler thing, fucking go and watch the movie.
The movie's been out for almost a year now.
Yeah.
We're good.
It's the same thing. I'm going to talk about the Kenobi series. I'm going to talk about
3 months. I could give about 3 months for a spoiler. So it's been out for about a year. If you haven't seen it yet, shame on you, because it's a good movie.
Yeah. But the end of that movie was so heartbreaking. Especially
seriously.
Happy. Nobody remembers him.
Yeah. And the funny thing is how close Happy and MJ are at the end of that movie.
Yep.
And you can just and kudos to Tom Holland for being as good as he is, because I liked him. I liked him when in the Avengers, right? As Spider-Man, I didn't realize I was going to like him this much. And kudos to him for for allowing us to see his range as an actor. You could genuinely see the hurt in his eyes and on his face. And maybe hurt's the wrong word. Maybe it was that stark, cold realization of, this is what I've done. This is what I have chosen. And, I think that's fantastic. And he again, I am not, I'm surprised at how into Tom Holland I am as Spider-Man. And also, if you want to get a really good glimpse inside of just the character that Tom Holland is in real life, check out his appearance on celebrity lip sync battle where he does Rihanna. He is fantastic. The dance moves, the choreography, the setting that he did it.
He did Umbrella, right?
Yes. Yep.
He did Umbrella, which holds a very, very fond memory in my heart from years and years ago. The former boss at his house for like a staff appreciation night, where the song came on. He goes, while a few sheets to the wind. I can sing this song just as better than Rihanna or however she goes. And I'm like, oh boy. We didn't record, thankfully, but we had that memory in our heads for years of our boss going, under my umbrella, Ella, A. And like the next morning, we see him walk in. We're like, "Hey, how you feeling there?" You're too loud. That was loud? Just give it 20 minutes. All these kids are going to come in here. It's going to be loud.
It's going to be very loud.
So, more things that I watch, because again, I told you guys I watch a metric fuck ton of shit.
Metric
like
fuck
movies,
ton.
TVs.
7 Volkswagen Beetles.
I've seen... God fucking... You know,
that was a backdoor slider down and away, and it did not go away.
Down and away.
Top of the ninth, and Cleveland is up 7-6 with 1 out on the Red Sox. Nice play by Xander, not going to be a Red Sox much longer. Bogarts.
Anyway, so when it comes to movies, like obviously I've watched, as you can tell from behind me, I've watched all the Star Wars movies.
Yes.
I've watched all the Marvel MCU movies, even older ones like, now I'm seeing the Xander play. That's not bad. That's pretty good. Oh, it's going to be a real shame when that number 2 is gone.
Mm-hmm.
But after Xander Bogaerts, I don't think any other Boston Red Sox player should wear number 2.
No, I'm okay with that.
I'm
okay with that.
Not like an official retire of number 2 for Jerry Remy, but make it kind of like number 25, where only under special circumstances is Tony Conigliero's number to be worn.
No, listen,
only under certain circumstances is Jerry Remy's number to be worn.
No, it can be retired. Remy did enough for that team, both while he was playing and after his active playing career had ended. That number can be retired. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with either one. Of course. Obviously, you look at the Yankees and it's like, what are they going to do? They're going to have to go to triple digits, or are they going to give like 0-0 or 0-0-2?
Three-digit uniform numbers.
Like, I think they only have one single-digit uniform number left to give.
No, they're going to start doing halves.
Anyway, so when it comes to Star Wars stuff, I've watched all of the show. The only show I haven't watched is Resistance. For some reason, I've had a resistance to watching Resistance. I don't know why. But I've watched everything else. Oh boy, here we go. If you thought me talking baseball was going to get passionate, just give me a minute.
Lord. Here we go.
So, when it comes to Star Wars, there's 3 different ways to watch the series as a whole. There's theatrical release order, which obviously would go 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9. And then obviously you throw in Rogue One and Solo in between 7 and 8 and 8 and 9. There's the chronological order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then when you include Solo in Rogue One, it goes 1, 2, 3, Solo, Rogue One, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Then if you do this third order called the Machete Order, it kind of tells an overall story, and it's a story about Vader and the Chosen One and the redemption of Darth Vader, where you watch 4 and 5, then go 1, 2, 3, and then go back to 6. 4 and 5 to set up Vader, who he is, and then at the end of 5, when you find out, and again, this is not a spoiler alert, this has been around since 1980. If you do not know that Darth Vader is Anakin Skywalker and the father of Luke Skywalker, get out from under your fucking rock. And then promptly hit yourself in the head with said rock. So, after that, you find that out, you go back to 1, 2, and 3. Who was Anakin Skywalker? What set all this in motion to lead to this cybernetic human? And then you watch that, and then obviously you hear Padme at the end when she dies in Revenge of the Sith episode 3. Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. She dies and says, "There's still good in him, I know it." Now you lead into episode 6, and you see the good eventually win out. Which, fun little fact I saw the other day was, I think it was a TikTok video, or it might have been an Instagram reel. But it was a video that somebody took back in 1983 when Vader turned in the theater. And I'm like, oh, I'm looking at history. Like, I've been a part of this stuff, but I'm looking at history here. Like, I remember, being in the theater when Thanos was snapped. I remember bawling like a baby when Iron Man sacrificed it. When Iron Man had the stones in his gauntlet, and he just looks at Thanos. Thanos is dumbfounded, like, what? And I am Iron Man. Boom. Maybe.
Uh-oh. Oh, he's looking. He's looking around.
This moment right here.
And he pulls out the bobblehead.
Yeah, and the Disney Funko Pops are always the bobblehead ones, and it's like, oh, that's so dumb.
Yeah. Do you just call it a bobblehead Funko? What do you call it?
This is comic Thanos.
Why do they make him bobblehead? Why do they do that?
I don't know why Disney told Funko Pop, make ours bobbleheads, when literally none of the other ones are bobblehead.
I feel like that kills the entire vibe for me.
Like, hey, we've been talking Red Sox all night. So here's Wally.
A green monster.
The head doesn't move.
No, it's just giant.
I've got behind me to you guys' right, my left. On this side here, this shelf I'm pointing at,
Yeah.
that is Brian.
The Kraken shelf?
Yeah, the Kraken shelf. That's Brian May of Queen, Slash of Guns N' Roses, Lemmy from Motorhead, and Corey Taylor of Slipknot and Stone Sour. Specifically, that's Slipknot Corey Taylor.
Nice.
None of those move.
No.
The shelf immediately here.
And the one that could move out of all of those is Slash for when he bobbles his head when he's playing.
Yes. And you know what? The Lemmy one, it should be him looking up, because whenever he sang, he was always
he was looking down his nose at you.
He was looking down his nose at you guys. But you know what? They were Motorhead, and they were a rock and roll band.
And he was... I don't want to say he was a little creepy, but he might have been a little creepy. He had an abnormally large collection of Nazi memorabilia.
Yeah, he did. We know this.
I mean, this is common knowledge. This is not anything that we're not fucking
we're
breaking
not like
news.
What he had? What? No. A lot of Motorhead fans knew that he had a lot of Nazi paraphernalia. I mean, he wasn't a bad man to go and have this stuff, but also like, why'd you have this stuff?
Right. I
So
mean,
anyway,
as somebody who was raised by people, my aunt and uncle were big into history. Huge. Like when the History Channel came out and was actually doing history stuff.
he was actually doing history stuff in Pawn Stars. Hey, I got this 1950 signed baseball by Babe Ruth. Oh, I got a guy. It's worth
Yeah.
$1,000. Best I can do is 25.
Right. Back when the History Channel was doing history, that's all they watched. And when they came over, that's all they watched. So, I mean, I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, but why that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, in my bookshelf, I have a couple of. One of my grandfather's books is about Hitler's generals. I've got a couple of documentaries that are about Hitler and the rise of Nazi Germany, the Third
Well,
Reich.
I mean, and that's
Because
the
I'm a
other
history
part.
buff myself.
But that's the other part of it. That was the worst atrocity in human history conducted by other humans. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I understand the morbid curiosity, the dark curiosity about it. I get that. I get it. But I mean, and maybe it's because we're of the generation that bridges Gen X to the, I don't want to say cancel culture generation, but
Gen
they
Z,
started cancel culture.
Gen Z, Zoomers.
Yeah. So we can kind of, and we're both, I'm technically Gen X, but I'm like that Gen X millennial cusp, and you're pretty early in the millennial timeline.
So I've heard that millennials started in 88. I've also heard that millennials started in 80. That there's also like a sub-generation of Gen X called the Zennials, which
I refuse to use that.
It would make sense for you in terms of like where you would.
Yeah, and you got your hopes up too, huh? And there you have it, folks. The Cleveland Guardians take Game 3 from the Boston Red Sox 8-4.
God damn it. 7-6.
I mean 7-6. I was looking at the fucking. Oh God, 7-6. I read 8. I just said 8-4, and I'm like, wait a minute, didn't they have 6 runs?
Yeah,
but I was
left on base number.
Yeah. Cleveland left 8 batters on base, and Boston left 4. So we have that cross section of generations.
Yeah.
We're kind of the bridgies.
Yep.
So I totally get it.
I'm just going to go and say one of the shows that I've watched recently that a lot of the Star Wars fans have watched recently that I will be talking about the end for a minute or two is the Kenobi series. The one that when they announced that this was going to happen, we were anticipating the most.
Say that again?
The Kenobi.
Oh, Kenobi.
Yes. What did you think it said?
Your gate opened, and so it dropped you when my gate opened, so it dropped you, and I think I just was breathing.
Gotcha. So, Kenobi. Number one, to all the people who said that it was a failure of a series because we didn't get Clone Wars flashbacks, we didn't get this, we didn't get that. Eat a dick.
I fucking hate
2.
Star Wars fans.
Number 2. This show was everything that I could have possibly seen. A broken man eventually defeats the broken part of him and is able to grow from it. And then of course, getting after the child actor who plays Leia because that's not my Leia Organa. That absolutely fucking is Leia Organa.
Bro, please explain to me where you saw a child Leia Organa before this series. Please.
You did.
Exactly. So shut the
And
fuck up.
to be honest, Leia Organa, Carrie Fisher, some of them were even going, Carrie Fisher didn't want anybody else to play Leia Organa. No.
How do you know?
She never said that, you fucking idiot. Dude, really? Like, Star Wars Theory on YouTube, that guy is one of the biggest curmudgeons in the world. Like, the whole series is a failure because, I didn't get what I wanted. So make one.
You know what he is? You say curmudgeon, and as a curmudgeon, I take great offense to that because I have seen his videos. Do you know what he is?
My apologies.
Thank you, sir. He is a fucking gatekeeper of the highest order. He is the first order gatekeeper.
Oh, you're a female Star Wars fan? Name 5 Star Wars novels that are not in Legends canon. You can't get out. He's one of those types of people.
Yeah. Give me 5 Star Wars novels not in canon, not written by Zimmerman.
Fucking douche canoe. Go back to living in this basement. Twat.
Fucking neck-bearded fuck. I'm sorry, that's a bad name for neckbeards. Like, that's how much I can't stand that guy.
Yeah. It like
just as bad as the wrestling fan gatekeepers, man.
Oh God. We're not gonna get into that. We'll get kicked off of Twitch if we get into that. I won't be able to upload this to YouTube if we get into that.
No.
But no,
we have to do some editing on the past few minutes if we upload that to YouTube.
I ain't editing shit. It's just getting uploaded. It's just getting uploaded. If anybody gives a shit, I'll upload it again.
There you go.
And you know what I'll do? I'll go into a video editing software and I'll up the volume on the last few minutes. Prove a point. Now, y'all are jackasses. We're gonna raise us up a notch, all right? This shit goes to 11.
Seriously, I
10 points to the first person that goes and gets that reference.
Kevin, we are both Star Wars fans. We are both wrestling fans. We are both comic book fans.
Yep.
And comic book movie fans. What sense does it make? So, hold on. Before I ask the question, we all take pleasure of some sort watching all of these shows. Mm-hmm. And we want our community to grow, because if our community grows, that's more people that we can talk to about it. That's more power that the product has, and power equate in a studio's eyes. Power and demand is what you need in order to supply said content. So, as a fan of all of these things that we are, what sense does it make to shame or to disregard somebody's fandom about Star Wars, about Marvel, about DC, about Star Trek? Like, it has always boggled my mind. Okay, yeah, you're not a fan of the exact same thing as me, but you're a fan of the same universe as me. That's cool. I'm gonna bust your balls about it, especially if it's stuff that we don't get along, that we don't agree on. But that's just because that's me. I'm not doing it because I don't think you should be a fan. In fact, if somebody tries to come at you sideways about that, I will be one of the first people to stand up. You've seen it, and stick up for you. So I don't understand people's logic. If Joe from down the street wants to be a new fan of something that you are a fan of and have been a fan of, A, why does it bother you? B, how does it negatively impact your fandom or your life in regards to this universe, to the point that you want to shame them out of being fans? or being a fan. I don't understand it. And if somebody who is listening or watching, could message us or pop into our live stream the next week when we're live, or leave YouTube comments, I would really like to understand the logic, because to me, that's being about as useless as fucking tits on a bull. I mean, am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong.
It's just something that I never understood. Like the internet the IWC, the fucking clowns of the IWC. For those of you not really hip to the lingo, IWC, Internet Wrestling Community, IWC. I understand that we are part of the IWC, but in the way that most people use IWC, it's a derogatory term. It's for the creepy mother's basement dwelling, neck beard, mouth breathing fucks. Okay? The AEW started 3 years ago, almost. The IWC is still, after almost 3 years, insistent that you can't like AEW and WWE and any other products. The narrative is it has to be one or the other. And I just don't fucking understand it. Wouldn't you, as something as sheltered as a fandom as wrestling is, because wrestling is no longer mainstream, not like it was in the mid to late 90s, early 2000s. Wrestling's not that mainstream. So we're back to being kind of that sheltered fandom. Knowing that you're part of a sheltered fandom, why would you not want to watch more or enjoy the fact that you have somebody who wants to be a fan, wants to be part of this fandom, this universe, and they want to consume more wrestling content? Like, why is the constant narrative this or that and not all? It boggles my mind.
No, it boggles my mind too. And to the people who are always, trying to, gatekeep whatever fandom, no matter what, can be gatekeep music.
Yeah.
Dude, just let people do fun things. Like, look, COVID, then the pandemic, the shutdowns, the lockdowns, all the, the different things going on, it's given me the thought process of life is short. Let people have fun within the realm of law.
Right. Yeah, no, I know what you're saying.
Obviously, if a person likes to go and steal, dude, that's illegal. I know you get your rocks off from it, but you still can't do that.
Oh, you're going with the stealing, I was going with fucking goats, but okay.
Well, fucking goat stealing, whatever floats your boat. So, at a graduation ceremony from my old job, guy came out with a cooler, and he opened it up and it's just waters. It's not vodka or anything. And I looked at him, we shared a laugh, and I looked at him and went, sir, even if it was vodka, if there's anything this COVID pandemic has taught me is you do what makes you happy.
Seriously. There is enough fucking bullshit out in this world right now, in this very moment. You can't you can't blink an eye. You can't reach out and touch a newspaper. You can't turn on the TV without some fucking far left extremist, some far right extremist, some Christian extremist making some sort of headline, some fucking mentally unstable individual that should not have a gun legally doing some of the most abhorrent things. You cannot interact or wake up without running into these situations on a daily basis. Why do you feel the need to shit on what gives somebody else enjoyment? My wife likes watching some of those Real Housewife shows. Not all of them, because even she's like, some of them are just fucking ridiculous. But she likes watching them because, and I would ask her why, because it wasn't really for me. You know, I'd walk in and I'd be like, ugh, and then I'd walk out. And she said, because it reminds me that my life ain't really that bad. I don't have people constantly trying to tear me down, pit me against my family. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. You know, they should go, would I like having some of their money? Absolutely. But you know what? I don't want the fucking headaches that they have to deal with. Makes me feel better about my life. It allows me to escape. And isn't that what fandoms are, is escapism? Isn't that what entertainment is in general, is just escapism? Yeah. It allows you to shut your brain off and not worry about what's outside your four walls for the time being. And it gives you momentary pleasure. And maybe depending on what you're watching, it is pleasure in that way. But I just mean in the general sense of pleasure, of enjoyment, some sort of fulfillment. You know, it just never, especially with what's been going on recently in current events. It's just. Just let people enjoy it, man. It's not bothering you. Stop.
Yeah.
Mind your business.
Like, let me be me. Let me like my Star Wars. Let me like this.
Right.
You know, let me enjoy the things I like. I don't go and look at you and say you can't enjoy what you like because I don't like it. No, I don't do that.
Nobody should do that. That's the point. That was the whole point of this little diatribe that I just fucking went on for the last 16 minutes. You know, oh, Lord.
So do you want me to go back to talking about the things I like to play?
Yes, please. Go right ahead.
Watch. So, back to Kenobi. I gotta say, because Ray, I'm assuming you're caught up on all the episodes. Yep. So, number one, when you're doing chronological and you also include the TV shows, it gets a little bit more complicated to watch all Star Wars because chronologically per the Skywalker Saga story, it goes 1, 2, 3. No, it goes 1, 2, Clone Wars the animated series, and that one gets a little confusing because if you play episode 1 and keep going, they made Clone Wars for the first few seasons be more of an anthological collection, you know, where it's a bunch of different, like, stories.
Yes.
About a collective idea.
Yeah, and in my opinion, those were the slowest of the seasons. Like those were the seasons that really, to me, kind of dragged until, you know, and then once after that, the show just opened up and it was fantastic.
Well, in about season 4, it got chronological, where it just went in order. Star Wars, their actual website, has a listing of if you want to go in chronological order from the very start of the Clone Wars all the way through the end. Here you go, guys. It's a lot of stopping, going to find the episode, pressing play, stopping that one, going to find the next episode. But it goes a lot faster because you're now seeing the stories playing out in order that they should appear in. But then after Clone Wars is Revenge of the Sith, and the final season of Clone Wars, the final 4 episodes, all coincide with Revenge of the Sith. And there's actually a website that is able to allow you to pause at certain points of Revenge of the Sith to go and watch certain points of those final 4 Clone Wars episodes and then toggle back and forth between those. It makes Revenge of the Sith and those 4 Clone Wars episodes like a 4 or 5 hour event.
No shit.
My brother just recently decided, I'm going to go into, I've never done that before, so I'm going to go and do the whole Episode 1 Phantom Menace all the way through The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh my.
And he now just has gotten to Kenobi. So after Revenge of the Sith is Bad Batch. Yeah. And then you have Solo. And then you have Kenobi. which, by the way, for those who haven't seen it, Obi-Wan Kenobi and Vader fight twice, with the first one obviously going to Vader.
Yes.
And the second one going to Kenobi. And that second one, I was watching it at 6 in the friggin' morning. And I've got tears welling up in my eyes watching Anakin go and say... So Kenobi wins the fight, like, no doubt. He gets up close to Vader, beats in on the controls for all the
his
all
life
the phrases.
life extending his equipment there.
Yeah, that stuff. It's
Yeah,
gonna come
respirator.
to me in 5 minutes. So he goes and bashes in it with the lightsaber. So now Vader is struggling to breathe. Still fighting though because it's Vader. So then, friggin' pushes him aside, slashes him in the back with the cape, and then is able to run up, gets the high ground again because it's Kenobi.
Mm-hmm.
Slashes him in the forehead on this side of Vader's helmet, and you see as
That
it
would be
comes
the
off
left
the
side.
breath. Yes, left side. So the left side. Did I say right side?
No, you said this side, but the people listening and not watching don't know what this side
listening.
is.
So on the left side of his face. So you see, and Obi-Wan goes and says, Anakin. And then Vader lifts up and says, Anakin is gone. I am what remains. And I'm starting to tear up. So I'm like, oh shit. It was such an emotional scene. Kenobi's going like, I'm sorry for everything.
Right.
You know, like, and then here was Anakin reaching out to Obi-Wan. I am not your failure, Obi-Wan. Kind of like, no, you don't need to apologize because it wasn't you.
Right.
But then, and the lighting for this, you can see the blue flash across Anakin's bare face. But then the red creeps back in after Anakin says, you didn't kill Anakin Skywalker. I did. And you see this faint little curl of a smile.
Mm-hmm.
The red floods back into his face. Such an emotional scene. And to know that there's that closure for Obi-Wan.
Yes.
That no, Anakin's gone. And there is no bringing him back.
Right, and not only that, but we have all followed the story so closely, and it's been, for lack of a better phrase, it's been drawn out over so many decades.
Mm-hmm.
There was so much truth to what he said. That one line, I am not your failure. Because he wasn't. What ultimately did Anakin in was Anakin. I mean, yeah, okay, Palpatine poisoned his mind, but...
And the Jedi Order refused to go and try to teach him in a different way to go and suit the learner, and instead, no, our dogmatic approach will always be the way to go and do it.
Right. So, yeah, Anakin... it was not Obi-Wan's failure, and there was so much truth in that line that you can't help to get emotional, because even we that have been along for the journey have always been of the mindset of it was Obi-Wan's mistake. And I think it might even be mentioned in episode 4 where or referenced in episode 4 where Obi-Wan believes that Vader was his mistake, or that he failed Vader in some way. I'd have to go back and watch it, but I'm almost positive there's a reference to that.
Yeah, I think it was episode 4. But Kenobi was great. And then obviously to go and finish up the chronological order of Star Wars, Solo is actually in between Bad Batch and Kenobi. Because Solo was set, so for all the other nerds who know this, for the nerds who don't, when Star Wars fans say the phrase number BBY or number ABY, they're referring to the Battle of Yavin. BBY is before the Battle of Yavin, and ABY is after the Battle
After
of
the
Yavin.
Battle of Yavin.
0 BBY is the Battle of Yavin, because that was such a pivotal moment in the Star Wars universe that every bit of the timeline was based upon the destruction of the first Death Star at Yavin, at the Battle of Yavin.
At the battle, yeah.
So obviously the Empire's formation was in 19 BBY. Solo is set in 10 BBY, 11, 10 BBY. Kenobi is set in 9 BBY. And then obviously you get A New Hope, which is 0 BBY. Empire Strikes Back is set in 3 BBY, 3 ABY. My apologies. Return of the Jedi is 4 ABY. Then you have novels and comic series that set up things in between, like the Aftermath novel series details. Because Return of the Jedi makes it seem like the Civil War is over, we've won the whole thing. No, the fighting continued on until the Battle of Jakku and the Galactic Concordance. And that was detailed in the Aftermath novels. You know, Battlefront 2 from EA DICE goes with the story of Operation Cinder, which was Palpatine's childlike tantrum. If I'm not alive to rule the galaxy, there will be no galaxy to rule. You know, kind of the Sith tantrum and all that. Mm-hmm. And I forgot, and I apologize for forgetting this. Rebels is just before.
Oh, I forgot about Rebels.
I did too. So, Rebels is a great show. And then after Return of the Jedi, the shows pick up with The Mandalorian, which is set in 9 ABY. So it's 4 years post the end of the Galactic Empire and the formation of the new Republic. Yes. The Book of Boba Fett is set just after the second season of The Mandalorian. We have new shows coming on the horizon that we don't know exact timelines of yet. Andor, which is coming out at the end of August, is going to fit nicely in between Kenobi and Rebels A New Hope. Rogue One is before A New Hope. It actually goes right into it at the very end. And then Resistance goes along right before and during The Force Awakens. And then The Last Jedi and Rise of Skywalker are all like within a year of each other. Like those 3 movies are all set between 34 and 35 ABY.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, that I didn't know. I had no idea how the timeline worked. I was just like, okay. It's one of those things where you're just like, all right, but because you know that it's just going to be good. You know, and if you've watched the previous stuff, you can kind of just, you know, you do the timeline in your head. I didn't realize that there was an actual timeline.
Yeah, there's an actual timeline of events of the Skywalker saga. By the way, Disney tried to, because in The Force Awakens, the Star Killer base destroys Hosnian Prime, which was the capital of the New Republic. Disney, because of the whole Disney canon, new canon, all that, they tried to go and say, no, the new timeline is actually going to be called before Hosnian Prime and after Hosnian Prime. So it's going to be BHP and AHP. We're going to go with that from now on. And no one went with it. Everybody still goes and says BY and ABY. Because it's like, Disney, we understand that you want to go and make your own canon and you want to make everything, you know, yours because you bought the property. Just let us have this one.
Right.
Like, everything fits and everything works. And if we have to go and change it because you want to Disneyfy it, like, do you realize how many pages on Wikipedia we have to change now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, no. Let us have this one. And Disney relented. They haven't done anything about it since.
Well, not only that, but what about the books that they did canonize?
So they didn't canonize some books; they just took ideas. Like,
that's true. No, what did they make? They made him legacy, right?
they made all the movies, all the books that were before Disney bought
Lucas.
film and Industrial Light and Magic. They were considered legends; that they were no longer canon. But the tricky thing is that Disney has seen a couple of things here and there and gone, we like that. We're going to take that and make it canon. Like Thrawn, Grand Admiral. He was a Legends material, and then they took him for Rebels and made him Disney canon.
I fucking love Thrawn.
I love Thrawn too.
He has one of the best backstories.
Yep, and he's one of those villains that you like low-key root for.
Oh, he plays the gray area so well.
Yeah,
because he's a villain, but at the same time you're like, no, fuck that. I know Thrawn can kick this dude's ass.
Yep. And I think with me being the history buff I am, when he said, I forget the episode it was. I think it was the episode where the Ghost crew were going to try and help out Harrison Newell's father.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it? He was talking about history. Oh, he went and said, you learn more about your enemy learning about their history and appreciating their art and culture.
Yes.
And it's like, so this guy is a master general and master Grand Admiral.
Yeah, he's not like Grand
prowess. He's not like Grand Moff Tarkin.
Yes.
Who is a master at it through force and fear. He's a master through learning and through knowing the advantages and disadvantages of a certain race.
Yes.
This dude's more powerful than Tarkin.
Oh, without a doubt.
And by the way, the TIE Defender series, which is also in the video game Star Wars Squadrons.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I was in Rebels, and, but they didn't have it in the original trilogy. Yeah, they fixed that by, having the person who was heading that disappear. And no other Defender TIE fighters were left. So they went with the Death Star. They continued to go with the Death Star. Or more so, they put all of their resources towards it instead of splitting it with the Death Star and the TIE Defender series. Had Thrawn gotten the TIE Defender series through,
mm-hmm.
the Rebels, they wouldn't have won. They would not have won. That TIE Defender was light years ahead of any of the ships the Rebels had. And it shows in the Star Wars Squadrons game too, which I haven't played that in like a year and a half. I need to get back and play that game.
I swore that I wasn't going to play that game until I got a joystick, and the pandemic caused the price of joysticks to fucking skyrocket because everybody was playing Flight Simulator and Ace Combat, and because I was watching a fucking Thrustmaster joystick for my PlayStation. I was watching the price on it, and then I got one of my stimulus checks. I was like, I'm gonna spend a little bit of money, get the fucking joystick, and it had damn near tripled in fucking price. And I was like, what the fuck? And now those prices have stayed there, and I refuse to pay almost $500 for a fucking joystick that at one point was $124.99.
Yeah, I got my Logitech joystick on sale well after.
Right.
Because I was just using like your standard Xbox controller. I'm like, I wonder if this would be better with a joystick. And it is.
Oh, yeah.
Like especially like when you're using the TIE Interceptor or TIE Defender,
mm-hmm.
Or the A-Wing for the Rebellion side, you just are so fluid with your motions. It's just like, it's fantastic to go and play as that. But moving on to, there's a couple more shows I want to go and talk about that I've watched that I'm sure you probably have heard of or watched them.
Mm-hmm.
on Hulu. I just recently finished season 1, and I just need to watch season 2 when all the episodes are out. Only Murders in the Building.
I have not started that yet. I've got it in my queue.
You need to see this show. Oh, it is. I binged the entire first season. So I got a friend of mine. I've mentioned her in the last couple episodes. I mentioned her earlier. She was a Star Trek fan. But she's the one that would give me a couple of recommendations. She went in one day. We were working together. She just goes, "Hey, have you ever seen the show The Last Kingdom?" Like, I think I've heard of it. What's it about? She goes, "It's about
good.
like the old deans in Great Britain, like in the very old, like 900s." I'm like, all right, yeah, I'll go watch that. I've watched through season 3. I just haven't gone back to 4 or 5 yet.
It's so good.
After
I love
season
that
3,
show.
I kind of needed a bit of a. I need happy right now.
Season 3, dude. Season 3 kicked me in the fucking balls so hard.
Yep. But she told me season 4 and 5 get worse. Like, I need happy before I get back. She's going to tell me about a couple other shows. So I went and told her about this one. And so I went and told her, what was it like? It was like a Friday or Saturday that I was talking to her for a few minutes, and I said, "You should go and watch the show." I binged this entire show in one night, the first season at least. I just haven't touched the second season because when I was done, it was like 12:30 in the morning on a Sunday, and I needed to get up early in the morning. But it's a fantastic show. I love it. It's a lot more serious than I thought it would be, given that it's Steve Martin and Martin Short.
Right.
But you do see like the comedy stylings of those two throughout. And Selena Gomez is just like, to me, she's always been a good actress, but this was like her breaking out performance to me, where like it proves that she's great. But like it's dude, you gotta watch it.
I'm definitely going to. And in fact, when we wrap tonight, I may just throw that on, and that'll be my serial killer podcast or documentary that my wife is so fond of.
I'm looking at my Hulu list right now. One of the shows I like to watch and love watching it is Archer.
Yeah, it's all about the danger zone, man.
Yep, it's all about the danger zone. Look, why are the crumbs on the floor? Do you guys want ants? This is how you get ants. I cannot do H. John Benjamin's voice to go. It's just too deep.
No.
But it does give birth to this sound clip.
Phrasing?
Bringing back an oldie but a goodie.
Yep. Which I say a lot at home when all of a sudden I'll say something and I'll just go, what? Shit, phrasing.
Right. Well, it's one of those things where, like, once you hear it, you can't unhear people's lack of phrasing.
Yep.
So I totally understand that.
And right before I go to the other recommendation, or not the other recommendation, I gotta share this one. If you've ever seen the show The Mighty Boosh.
No, I have not.
Oh, okay. So The Mighty Boosh Ray is on Hulu. It's another British comedy sketch series.
Yeah.
With Noel Fielding. For those on YouTube and listening
Twitch.
on the podcast and Twitch and all that, for those who are watching this, the picture I'm about to show you, you're going to know really, really quickly.
Old Greg.
Old Greg.
Ever drunk
Old
Baileys from... Ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
You should go and watch this particular episode of The Mighty Boosh, because this, I think, is Noel Fielding's best work. And he's had some great work before, but I really think this is his best stuff. Hi, I'm old Greg. You ever drunk Baileys from a shoe?
Nice.
Want to come to my downstairs? creepy swamp creature. It like, everybody should go watch the Mighty Boosh.
I'm putting it on my queue right now.
Good. Or as the Emperor says, good.
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
fulfill your destiny. Take
Let
your
the
father's place at my side.
Let the hate flow through you.
All right. So, I've also got Apple TV Plus, and I got this because I'm an Always Sunny Philadelphia fan. I love that show. I started when it was, the gang gets racist.
Yeah.
And just like there were so many episodes that I absolutely adore and love. I listen to their podcast every Monday that recaps all the episodes that the last 3 months haven't really talked much about the episodes, but just talked shit to each other, which is fine because they've been on season for 15 seasons of this show.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that,
yep.
Same friend. She's like, oh, Apple TV Plus. Oh, I've heard of that show. There's a show by the Always Sunny creator called Mythic Quest. I'm like, I've heard of that, but because it's on Apple TV Plus, I can't watch it. So I eventually got Apple TV Plus because she also recommended Ted Lasso. And I watched that, and let me tell you, I loved that show. That was just such a fantastic show, Ted Lasso. Just his, I can't say enough good things about Ted Lasso. I can't say enough good things about Jason Sudeikis. I like him. Listen,
anything that gets Fred Toucher talking like he's a 7-year-old girl, it has to be good.
Yes. No, Ted Lasso is about an American football college coach coming over to Britain to coach football, soccer over here at Stateside.
So you're talking about somebody who was a hand egg coach going to Great Britain to coach football.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. And the original premise of it is he doesn't know anything about this sport. I'm only doing this as the new owner to lose my ex-husband money. And it turns out that, they go into regulation after the first season, and I'm not going to spoil the second season quite yet. The first season, it's been a while. But the second season, I'll hold off. But the owner, Hannah Waddington, who, if you remember in Game of Thrones, she was the shame priestess.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, not priestess, nun. Shame, ding, shame, ding.
Shame.
Which I did not touch Game of Thrones for a reason, because that will give us another 20 minutes of content, and I don't feel like doing another 20 minutes of content. My throat's already starting to hurt.
Listen, I am perfectly okay. I am perfectly okay with episode 4 being a continuation of episode 3.
Yeah, we could definitely go and do that. We could call it episode 3.5.
Hey, bingo. Put that down in my notebook.
Yes. So, I like Ted Lasso. I can't say enough good things about. And of course, this also goes along with, I've watched all the classic ones like Cheers, Frasier, MASH, Leave It to Beaver, the Dick Van Dyke Show. I've watched Mary Poppins, all the old school
the Dick Van Dyke Show.
I Love Lucy was my grandmother's personal favorite. Another one of her personal favorites was this guy right here, Gumby.
Oh, man.
Let's see. What's another? Obviously, I've seen The Simpsons. I've seen Family Guy. I've seen American Dad. I've unfortunately seen The Cleveland Show. That was not that good.
It was okay for what it was.
Yeah. I've seen Rick and Morty. Obviously, all the Adult Swim stuff when I was a teenager into my early 20s. Robot Chicken, Aqua Teen Hunger Force, Death Clock. South Park. I don't know anybody who hasn't at least seen 1 or 2 episodes of South Park.
I fucking hate the show, and I've seen like 3.
I first saw an episode of South Park when I was like 10.
Damn, for real?
Yeah. It had only been around for like 3 or 4 years at that point. And then I saw another episode when I was in middle school, and then it wasn't until about my sophomore year of high school that I started watching, like, from the beginning on. Because my parents, they weren't like, no, you can't watch anything like that. They were more of a, we don't think you're old enough for this yet type. While at the same time, let's go watch one of the Lethal Weapon movies. So
that's just violence. That's fine. It's just blood and guts.
Where they satirize everything. No, that's off the table. Or an animated cartoon with a doofus father who goes dope when something goes wrong. That's off the table. But Riggs and Murtaugh destroying downtown LA, that's fine.
How many times you try to pop your shoulder out of place and then put it back in like Mel Gibson?
Why?
I think I was up to like 10, and then I actually fucking dislocated it. And I never wanted to do it again.
Nope. It's usually when you dislocate it, when you're not wanting to, then you're like, yeah, nope, not doing this again. Shit.
Oh, dude, it was so bad. I was walking around like, my shoulders. It was so bad. Oh God.
Some of the older shit, like Futurama. Oh, here was one thing. Futurama, we couldn't go and watch as we were younger because it's a little too adult. But Beavis and Butthead was okay.
Listen, your parents sound cool, but their logic seems a little flawed.
There were times where the logic was flawed. Because again, it's like, no, get the Simpsons off the TV. Like, get this garbage off, and then we turn the channel, and it's fucking Casino or Goodfellas. And it's like, I look back now and go, like, I missed out on like some really like timeless episodes I could have watched as they happened.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I wouldn't change it for the world because I got to see like Robert De Niro and Joe Pesci like kill people.
Right.
And speaking of Goodfellas, we just lost the other day.
Paul Sorvino.
I'm going to share.
Mira Sorvino's dad.
And here we go. Paul Sorvino, who acted on both sides of the law in Goodfellas and on Law and Order, has died at the age of 83. This was from Monday.
You sure?
Yeah, Monday.
Okay, just making sure.
Today's Wednesday, right?
Today is Wednesday for another hour.
Okay, so Monday. So, I remember when the news broke about Hey, we're back. I remember when the news broke and we were in the car. I had just crossed the border on Route 85 into South Carolina. And I'm on the phone. My parents are ahead of us. And they're like, yeah, we're at such and such a mile mark. Yeah, we just crossed the border like 5 minutes ago. I think I'm just going to head to the hotel and all that. And then while I'm on the phone, my younger brother just goes, Ray Liotta died.
Ugh.
And I went, wait, what? And they're all like, wait, what? And he's like,
so depressing.
Dude, way to friggin' buzzkill this phone conversation about the fact that we finally crossed into home. Great. Great memory there, bud.
The end is in sight. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. Oh, by the way, Ray Liotta's dead.
Yeah.
That should be a title of one of our next episodes.
What'd you say again?
I said that should be a title of one of our next episodes.
What was the title?
We're almost home. There's a light at the end of the tunnel. Oh, by the way, Ray Liotta's dead.
There's a light at the end of the tunnel. And oh, by the way, Ray Liotta is dead. All caps. Okay. Got it.
Just putting stuff down in notes, folks. Just putting stuff down in the notes.
That's what we do. I'm probably going to forget about this.
I've got it written down. We're good.
Okay. I have it written down too, but sometimes it doesn't work. So, I guess when it comes to shows I don't watch, I mean...
Well, how about we save the don't watch for episode 3.5? We don't want our listeners or our watchers to be too fatigued. We've been going, even though it doesn't seem like it, we've been going for almost 3 hours.
Well, like there was a point we were at the 40-minute mark, and I'm like, oh God, we're only at the 40-minute mark? I thought we were like an hour and a half in. Now all of a sudden we're pushing 3 hours. It's like,
yes.
Where'd the time go?
That is
Holy
a
shit.
very good question.
It's like it's 11 o'clock.
Yes.
On a school night. Wait, I don't work at a school anymore.
I still have to get up at 4:30 in the morning.
Oh, that sucks. But I'm going to finish drinking this Coors Light because, cheap.
Just because. I mean, it could just be because.
Well, yeah, no, because. And I guess the one final thing I do want to go and say in regards to the WWE and all the news dropped, with Triple H heading creative and Stephanie being the new CEO, co-CEO with Tony Khan.
Nick Khan.
Sorry, Nick Khan, not Tony Khan. In due time, things will start to look up. Will it, be completely what we all imagine? No, of course not, because it's WWE. There's still some of the old guard there who are probably going to be in the way of certain changes. And Tony Khan, not Nick Khan, Tony Khan today went and said via his annual busted open rah-rah speech that he goes and gives before Dynamite. I saw the eye roll. I feel the same way. He basically said, and I don't fault him for saying this because they are under contract, well, I mean, good luck to the people who are here on a 5-year deal who want to go back. Good luck. It's like, yeah, no, good luck. They signed a 5-year contract. They're there.
There's nothing, I mean, I don't...
I don't see anything wrong with that statement. I can understand WWE Mark saying, oh my God, that's a challenge.
Yeah,
those superstars in AEW should just go and try to cut bait. It's like, no, they signed a contract. They're there for 5 years, and
that's because of all of people being like, oh, Mox will come back. Mox is going to leave AEW. He's going to pull a Cody. Bryan Danielson's going to pull a Cody. Adam Cole's going to pull a Cody now that his boy is back in charge. And like, bro, there are still contracts. They are still legal. Yeah. They are still binding. Normally, I cringe at that stuff that Tony Khan says on air because it becomes such... For a show to start out and be as objective as it was, to see what it has turned into, and I'm not talking about AEW, I'm talking about BON. Right? It no longer is my cup of tea, and hasn't been my cup of tea for a very long time. And Tony Khan I liked, and I still to this day like, but there are times where I'm just like, bro, shut the fuck up. And this was not one of those times because he's right. And that was his very not so passive aggressive way of saying, hey, I'm a nice guy and all, but if you think that you were just using me till your girlfriend broke up, the girl that you have a crush on broke up with her boyfriend and you can go there now, No, we have rules.
Yeah, like there's rules, there's contracts, there's legal. Like you can't just go and jump ship back just because they're there. And with Moxley, you never know. We don't know his contract status at all. Like the only ones who were mentioned were Adam Cole and Samoa Joe,
Yeah.
who Samoa Joe. He waited for a long time before he did eventually sign with AEW. And now that Vince is gone and Triple H is in creative power, I don't know if he's in total power yet, but
I mean, he is head of creative.
That maybe things will be better. It is so far looking like it's on the up and up because Paul Heyman today was in Nashville talking with a bunch of tryout recruits.
Oh, okay.
Where he was saying, "Sell me your name," which I think is probably one of the best sentences a pro wrestling an aspiring pro wrestler, English motherfucker, do you speak it? Nope.
We could go with it.
So, an aspiring pro wrestler, yeah, you have a look. Yeah, you can wrestle in the ring. Sell me your name.
Mm-hmm.
Sell me your gimmicks. Sell me your character. And that character could be just a damn good wrestler. As you see with Jonathan Gresham or a Claudia Castagnoli. By the way, Dean Malenko. And by the way, Jonathan Gresham, lost the ROH World Championship to Claudio Castagnoli. And now is not wanting to work for ROH anymore.
His whole thing is he wants to take a break from wrestling in general, but I guess what really pushed him over the edge was Tony Khan's inability to pick up a phone and call him back. Like, there were things that he wanted to communicate, and Tony Khan, for whatever reason, didn't. The man does have like 5 million balls in the air. And because because of that, he was like, all right, well, you want me to lose the title? That's cool. He came out in like his everyday ring gear. He didn't come out with the octopus mask and the jet and the ring coat. He just came out in t-shirt and his tights, wrestled, rolled out of the ring, and bounced. Said he wants to take a break from wrestling and that the lack of communication did not help.
Yeah. And, the rumor and conjecture is he's probably going to Impact, be with his wife, Jordan Grace. Maybe he'll go up to WWE. And he definitely, in the Triple H mold of who he had signed previously, he definitely is a Triple H type of signing.
Oh, absolutely. Give him a mouthpiece.
Yeah. By the way, word on the street is that Matt Riddle may not be cleared for SummerSlam with Seth freaking Rollins.
Well, now he's Seth New York and Rollins on Twitter because, and listen, this is how good of a heel he is. He's playing the victim.
Yep.
It is fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
What he is doing right now.
Like Randy Orton right now is forever going to be a babyface. Because of the longevity he has now in the WWE and the fact that we've all been sleeping on the dude.
Well, once you hit a certain amount of years, and it seems to be like that 18 to 20 year mark is the sweet spot. That's when Cena no longer got booed or when he got booed constantly, or when he was getting booed, it was because of, they were going with the gimmick, the "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks" chance, you know? But nobody really
going with it. And then they were also, when he would come out, dude, apple dough, and instead of the do the crowd's going, John Cena sucks.
Right.
John Cena sucks. Clipping this to put on TikTok and at John Cena.
There you go.
So, like, they were doing stuff like that. But like Brock Lesnar now goes and gets cheered when he comes out because he's also hit that 20-year mark. Dave Bautista, when he would come out, he would get even in his WrestleMania match 35 with Triple H, he would go and get a pop when he would show up because it's Dave Bautista. It's Drax.
Yeah.
There's a certain point where no matter what, like Edge kind of has this, where there's a certain point where no matter what, And with Edge, it's a little bit different because, this most recent, like, month-long heel run, he was a heel, but he was still being cheered because, well, it's Edge, and we don't know how much longer we have of you, especially given that we had 10 years without you.
Right. Edge is always going to be special and is always going to be cheered because Edge was the first.
Yes.
And by the first, I mean Edge was the first to announce that he had to retire due to neck injuries, and then was gone, and then was the first to come back after those surgeries that they said, you can't wrestle anymore because one wrong bump and you're fucking done. So that's why Edge will always get cheered. That and his longevity, yes. But he was the first, and people still remember that promo when he had to retire and handed everything over. And it was not only the fact that he had to announce his retirement, you knew it was serious because he stayed retired. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he would do guest spots here and there for WWE, but you could see how they handled him with kid gloves. And then he also stayed retired.
Yep. You would never see him take a bump, and it wasn't until the SummerSlam before he returned at Royal Rumble when he speared Elias.
Yes.
Like, that, I think, was the first time that he actually,
got physical.
Took a bump and got physical.
Mm-hmm.
And there was also the whole Authority storyline with, and about to be concertoed and all that.
Yeah, but the thing with that is, you had Randy and Kane there to help him get down.
They're gonna protect him.
As if they were forcing him down, and they weren't really forcing him down. He wasn't slammed or anything. He was overpowered with air quotes. You know? But go ahead.
Edge is just always going to be Triple H now is always going to be the good guy.
Yep.
Especially
how can he not?
No, at this point, how can he not? The dude almost died.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's the head of creative and the executive vice president of talent.
Yes.
He's the JR.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a mind for the business that he's had since before he started.
Yes.
And also, he's a New England boy like us.
Always got to rep that a little bit.
Yep, we gotta
New Hampshire.
Yeah, Nashua, New Hampshire.
So
I'm going to New Hampshire, kid, for my cheapo pack of smokes.
So listen, my final
the amount of days that I would go and help friends who smoked. Hey, Kev, can you go and give me a ride up to New Hampshire? Well, you were in the SIGs? Yeah, all right, yeah, hop in.
Right.
Dude, you could go and get
such a different
carton
time.
in Mass was $70. That same carton in New Hampshire was $40.
Mm-hmm.
It's no fucking brainer am I going to New Hampshire.
Well, I remember when cartons in Mass were $35 and cartons in New Hampshire were $10.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous. I had a buddy that would buy 6 cartons in New Hampshire and then come back down and then go to the store. He would go to multiple convenience stores and just be like, "No, these are the wrong packs. I don't." And they're unopened, so they took them back and they gave him money, not realizing there's a fucking stamp on the bottom of the box that says New Hampshire and not Mass. So he was paying New Hampshire prices and getting refunded Mass prices.
Oh, what a fucking hustle.
Dude, seriously. So, my parting words for the night are this. This article was sent to me in our Discord, and it comes from No DQ and Aaron Rift, and it is a quote from Freddie Prinze on his Wrestling with Freddie podcast from July 27th. During his Wrestling with Freddie podcast, former WWE writer Freddie Prinze Jr. talked about dealing with Vince McMahon and executive producer Kevin Dunn during the Divas era of the women's division. And now we go into a direct quote from Freddie, where it says, "It's a very random, low-key era where the numbers weren't great and people missed out on a few wrestlers' peaks like the Beth Phoenixes of the world. Like, she kind of had her peak. It was at a time where Total Divas wasn't a thing yet, so the women didn't get that much love. So if she was going to get any time as a champion, which she should have had a lot of, they're like, well, we got to pair with Santino." So then she had like a thing with Santino where they both had a title, and Santino would do his comedy stuff, and then she would save him when he would like run like a girl. So it was this weird, low-key, under-the-radar time. We were all kind of held hostage by the whims of Vince and Kevin Dunn, man. One guy who loves wrestling, right, with all his heart, more than his family, more than his dogs, and then this other guy who I never got the sense liked wrestling at all. He was trying to turn it into the NFL or Tyson versus Holyfield, which is cool, man, but it wasn't wrestling. So you just see this room of, there were probably 20 writers when I worked there, and it was just 20 writers throwing sand against a tidal wave. You could pitch for 20 minutes. Kevin would be like, well, I don't think she's pretty. And all of a sudden, like 6 weeks of story was just gone. It's like, well, our champ has to be pretty. It's like, yo, do you think Mankind was pretty? You could throw out a number of how many less than handsome male champions have existed, and I shall exceed it. But it would be dead. It would just be dead because he would say one thing. Kevin Dunn, ladies and gentlemen. And that's from Freddie Prinze Jr., who is somebody else who has a fantastic mind for the business. And I know he wants to start... Yes. I know he wants to start his own org and have it like SAG approved and whatnot, which would be fantastic. But now that Triple H is head of creative, it might not be a bad idea to tap that vein.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't mind seeing Freddie Prinze Jr. back in the land of WWE. But
Kevin Dunn's got to go.
Yeah,
and that's something that we've been talking about since the first WSJ story broke.
So he not only has to go from the WWE, he is also hereby excommunicated from the Order of Kevin. He has brought shame to the name of Kevin.
Shame.
Okay, shame. I wish we had that clip. I'm gonna have to find that clip.
There you go.
He has brought shame to the Order of Kevin. He has brought disgrace to the Order of Kevin, and hereby is excommunicated. I almost said executed. Excommunicated. He is allowed to live, but he can no longer call himself Kevin.
He
will have to go by Dunn.
Done.
An appropriate punishment, considering all the creative decisions with Riddle and Theory. Just to name it.
Oh, don't forget Apollo.
Apollo.
Apollo's back in NXT, so he's got his last name again.
Oh, speaking of NXT.
Oh, boy.
If Dunn, from now on, he is done.
Yes.
In more ways than one, he is done.
Mm-hmm.
The excommunicated one. Hopefully NXT gets away from the color and goes back to black and gold.
Or how about just get away from the color? There is no reason why you need to look like the inside of a 1990s Taco Bell.
Yeah.
I mean, good God, man.
Yeah, I know. It's bad. It's bad.
It is. So with that being said, and after 3 hours and 8 minutes of our faithful listeners and watchers,
well, I got one.
We would like to... What's that?
I got one last thing to say. Live, laugh, and love.
For those of you that can't see, that is Kevin holding up his Skeletor Live, Laugh, and Love t-shirt, which next week on episode 3.5, a continuation of this week's episode, we will talk to Kevin about where he got that shirt, and hopefully we will have a link for you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us this week.
I got the shirt.
Kevin has 7 days to figure this out. We bid you
That
adieu.
is not enough time, but also all the time in the world.
We bid you adieu. Have a good night. Bang.